Chapter 1. Naruto Uzumaki. A long time ago there was a nine-tailed fox. When its tail swung, it destroyed mountains and caused tsunamis. To counter it, people gathered ninjas. One ninja sealed the monster in a life-and-death battle and died. That ninja was known as the fourth Hokage. Uzumaki Naruto ran with a bucket of paint in hand, bursting into laughter. "Hey Naruto, what are you doing?" asked one of the two ninjas chasing him. "You're never doing that again," exclaimed the other ninja. Naruto jumped between buildings with great skill, from one to another. In the background, his prank, his perfect joke, could be admired by anyone walking the streets of Konohagakure. "Shut up!" shouted Naruto with a big smile. The Hokage monument, where the faces of all the previous Hokages are carved in honor and prestige, had been painted by Naruto's hand. "None of you can do that, can you?" asked Uzumaki. "But I can. I'm the best." Naruto continued jumping between buildings, being chased by the two ninjas. He descended to the streets, then jumped to another building, and the two ninjas followed him. However, they fell into the trap. Naruto had never jumped from the street. He had tricked them so easily that he couldn't help but laugh at how silly they were for falling for something so simple. "Too easy," commented Naruto cheerfully. "Hey Naruto," a voice shouted from behind Uzumaki, startling him. Naruto let out a yelp and jumped to distance himself from the voice. Turning around, he found his academy teacher, Irika Yumino. "Irika-sensei, how do you always appear out of nowhere?" Naruto questioned, frowning. "What are you doing during class?" Irika replied, pointing a finger at him. Irika forced Naruto to return to the classroom, tying him up with a rope so he couldn't escape. "Listen, Naruto, you failed the last final exam and the one before that. You shouldn't joke about it," Irika scolded with crossed arms and a stern look. "Whatever you say." Naruto rolled his eyes and looked away, letting out a sigh of boredom. Irika clenched his jaw at that reaction and quickly turned to the rest of the class. "Henge no jutsu exam. Everyone in line. You must transform perfectly into me," Irika exclaimed firmly. "What?" The whole class shouted in displeasure at Irika's sudden decision. A few moments later, all the students were lined up and taking turns. "Haruno Sakura is going to transform," said a pink-haired girl before performing the jutsu. A puff of smoke appeared, and when it cleared, the girl had transformed into a copy of Irika. "All right," Irika nodded slightly, giving a positive mark to Sakura. "I did it." The jutsu dispelled, and the girl returned to her original form. She was beaming with joy. "Did you see that, Sasuke-kun?" asked the girl, her eyes fixed on Sasuke. "Next, Uchiha Sasuke," Irika called to Sasuke, the academy's top student and a descendant of the prestigious Uchiha clan, which had been one of Konoha's founders alongside the Senju clan. "All right," Sasuke nodded and stepped forward, ignoring the pink-haired girl. Without saying a word, Sasuke transformed into a perfect copy of Irika. With his long brown hair tied in a ponytail, his nose scar identical to the original, his black eyes, fair skin, and the typical Konoha attire. "All right," Irika said, impressed. "Next, Uzumaki Naruto." He continued as Sasuke returned to his original form and stepped out of the line. "It's all your fault," one of his classmates whispered to Naruto. "Excuse me, did you say something? I don't speak common ninja language," Naruto retorted with a disdainful look at his classmate before stepping forward. "Man, this suck," Naruto thought with annoyance. "All right, here I go," he continued in his mind, adjusting the goggles on his forehead. "Henge." Naruto performed the characteristic seal of the jutsu, and chakra flowed through his body. A puff of smoke appeared in his place. But unlike his classmates, Naruto didn't transform into a copy of Irika. No, Naruto had transformed into a beautiful, slender woman, naked, with an enviable figure, a seductive look, and scarlet red hair tied in twin tails. Irika was petrified. His eyes roamed the woman's tempting curves, and a spurt of blood shot out of his nose a moment later. Naruto returned to his original form with a puff of smoke. His laughter echoed throughout the class. I call this sexy no jutsu, the Uzumaki said between laughs, puffing out his chest with pride. Idiot! Irika shouted, silencing his student. Don't invent stupid techniques. After class, Irika took Naruto to clean up the prank he had pulled. Naruto muttered one curse after another while scrubbing the rocky surface of the first Hokage's face with a damp cloth. I'm not letting you go until you've cleaned it all and restored it to its original state, Irika said firmly, arms crossed. Like it matters, no one's waiting for me at home anyway, Naruto said with a tone of annoyance, looking up at his teacher. Then he lowered his gaze to continue cleaning the first Hokage's face. The seriousness on Irika's face faded, replaced by an empathetic look directed at his student. Naruto, Irika called gently. What? Naruto looked up with narrowed eyes. Let's see. Irika began timidly, scratching his cheek. If you clean it all up, I'll take you to eat ramen tonight. Irika was surprised to see Naruto's blue eyes light up with hope. Really? I'll work as hard as I can, Naruto shouted, then started cleaning with more enthusiasm and speed. The afternoon passed quickly, and when night fell with its amethyst sky dotted with silver points symbolizing the stars, Irika and Naruto were at Ichiraka Ramen, enjoying some good ramen. Naruto, Irika spoke, observing his student who eagerly slurped the noodles from his bowl. Why did you do that to the monument? Do you know who the Hokages were? Of course I know, Naruto affirmed with a slight nod. Basically, those who get the title of Hokage are the strongest ninjas in the village, right? The Uzumaki continued, making a gesture with his hand. And among them is the fourth Hokage, the hero who saved this village from the demon fox. Then why? Irika asked curiously. Well, one day I'm going to become Hokage, Naruto announced with a mouthful of food. And when that happens, I'm going to surpass all the previous Hokages. He continued with a determined voice, pointing at Irika with his chopsticks. That's how I'm going to make the village recognize my strength, he finished, surprising his teacher. Irika-sensei, can I ask you something? Naruto spoke with a shy smile, clasping his hands. Do you want another bowl of ramen? Irika tilted his head slightly. No. Can I borrow your head protector? Naruto asked gently. Oh, this? Irika adjusted the blue headband he wore on his forehead, with a metal plate engraved with the village symbol in the center. No. You get this after graduating. It's a symbol of your graduation. Maybe you can get it tomorrow. What a hassle, Naruto complained with a dissatisfied look. So that's why you took off your goggles, Irika mentioned, somewhat amused. I want more ramen. What? The next day was the day of the final academy exam. This exam would determine if the ninja was fit to leave the academy as a student and become a genin. To graduate, you will need to perform a Bushin no Jutsu. When your name is called, come to the next class, Irika revealed to all the students. Naruto chuckled slightly from his seat, a strange laugh that piqued his classmates' curiosity. Is something wrong, Naruto? Shikamaru asked with curiosity. You have that look on your face when you're thinking of a prank. Something interesting just occurred to me, Naruto replied with a sly grin. I have a feeling it's going to be a headache, Shikamaru said before sighing. Not for you guys. For the higher-level ninjas, maybe, Naruto commented enigmatically. His gaze was fixed on the second instructor, Mizuki. Naruto Uzumaki, please come to the next class to take the test, Mizuki announced seriously. Naruto rose from his seat with a smile and gave one last look to his classmates. Wish me luck. Although I don't need it, Naruto declared, leaving the room. Shikamaru, Choji said, fixing his gaze on the Nara. Don't you have the feeling that? He has something planned. Yes, I do, Shikamaru confirmed, frowning slightly. Naruto stood in the center of the next classroom. In front of him, behind two desks, were the examiners, Irika and Mizuki. On the desk were dozens of ninja headbands with the Konoha symbol engraved on the metal plate. Irika's face was serious, but there was a softness in his gaze and a spark of hope for Naruto. Mizuki had a kind face with a gentle look, but something was hidden behind his clear eyes. Naruto took a deep breath and let out a long sigh. Receiving Irika's nod, Naruto began to perform the hand seals. Bushin no Jutsu. A puff of smoke appeared, and beside Naruto was a clone. A clone, but lying on the ground with its tongue sticking out and unable to move. A defective clone. Silence reigned in the room for a moment. Naruto adopted a nervous, even fearful, look, staring at Irika. The words he didn't want to hear reached the Uzumaki's ears. Failed. Irika determined seriously. Irika, Mizuki intervened with a soft, conciliatory tone. It's his third time and he can already create a clone. Not very well, but he's managed it. We could pass him, he proposed politely. All the other students can create 2 clones. No way. Irika made a dismissive gesture with his hand. And Naruto only creates a useless clone. I can't pass him, Irika concluded, provoking a look of anger from the Uzumaki, who left the room without saying anything else. When the exams concluded, it was noon, and the sun shone brightly with its golden rays from the top of the sky, bathing the academy entrance with its warm light. All the students had passed the test. All except Naruto. All were greeted by their families, who rejoiced in their children's success. All except Naruto, who had no one, not even to drown his sorrows in a mother's embrace, telling him everything was okay. Therefore, Naruto watched everything with a somber and melancholic look from a distance, sitting on a swing in the shadows of a tree. Great job. That's my son. Now you're all grown up. I'm proud of you. I'll make your favorite dinner today. Hearing the joyful and proud comments from his classmates' families, the Uzumaki couldn't help but feel a tinge of anger and envy towards them. Hey, that boy, commented a mother whose gaze was fixed on Naruto. Yes, it's him, and he's the only one who didn't pass, said another mother. Both had cold, resentful looks. Well, that's a good thing. The first spoke with a smile, rejoicing in Naruto's failure. He shouldn't be a ninja since he is, commented the second mother with a venomous tone. Shoo! The first silenced her companion with a gesture. We're not allowed to talk about that. Naruto, who had heard the entire conversation filled with hatred towards him, couldn't help but feel sad. Putting on his goggles to hide his tear-filled eyes, he left the place. I need to talk to you, Irika, declared the third Hokage, who had seen everything that happened. His stony face showed no emotion, except for the disappointed look etched on it. Yes, sir. Irika frowned, looking at the 2 mothers with disappointment. Naruto might not have passed the exam, but it wasn't fair for 2 people to treat him that way. All the academy teacher could do was observe the distant and sad place where Naruto had been sitting. Irika-sensei is a serious person. His parents were killed when he was young, and he had to take care of himself, Mizuki revealed to Naruto, observing the sunset sky. Mizuki had met with Naruto and asked to talk, so they were both sitting on the edge of a rooftop. But why is he always so tough on me? Naruto asked, clenching his fists. His lips formed a thin, tense line. Mizuki looked at Naruto with a kind expression. He probably sees himself in you, Mizuki confessed in a calm tone. He probably thinks he wants you to become really strong. Naruto narrowed his eyes gloomily and looked down. Try to understand Irika's feelings. You don't have family either. Naruto remained silent for a few seconds, his gaze shadowed by his greasy, straight, dull scarlet hair. But I wanted to pass, the Uzumaki revealed in a sad tone. In that case, Mizuki smiled at Naruto, who looked at him confused and surprised. I'll tell you a special secret. Night reigned at the top of the dark purple sky. Just as Mizuki had told him, Naruto moved stealthily and entered the Hokage's mansion through the window the old man always left open. He looked around. Thanks to Mizuki, he knew which room he had to go to. But he had to be careful. As the Hokage was the most important figure, it was normal for the mansion to have a lot of security. However, Naruto had an advantage. He knew the mansion and the guard schedules well. He moved stealthily through the corridors, waiting for the precise moments when the guards were distracted by their own conversations. Taking advantage of the echo of their laughter, which was lost in the shadows, he advanced undetected. Each step brought him closer to the secret chamber where the secret scroll rested. The closer he got, the more Naruto relaxed and began to walk more calmly. The old man should get better guards, Naruto commented reflexively. If an academy student can infiltrate his mansion so easily, I don't want to think about what a high-level ninja from other villages could do, he continued with a murmur. Although, well, it's also unfair to them. After all, I can— What are you doing in my house? Interrupted a familiar voice from behind Naruto, who shuddered. Ha! Naruto turned with the most innocent and naive look he could muster. Old man, what a pleasant surprise to find you here. Really? It doesn't seem right to me for a kid to enter my house without telling me. Not even you, Naruto, the third Hokage pointed out with a sharp look. Yeah, well, I was looking for you because I wanted to show you something, Naruto explained with a gesture trying to calm the old man. Something that couldn't wait until tomorrow? Yes, you see, sexy no jutsu. Naruto quickly used his jutsu to transform into a beautiful and graceful naked woman. What? Hiruzen was petrified just like Irika had been the day before, and a moment later, a spurt of blood shot out of his nose until he fell unconscious. Sorry, old man, Naruto apologized, returning to his original form. But I need that jutsu. It will help a lot with my growth, making it more versatile and faster. It's the key to mastering not only my chakra, but also to better understand the ancient techniques of the Uzumaki. Then he frowned and looked at Hiruzen with disappointment. Still, falling for such a simple jutsu, are you really the most powerful ninja in our village? Naruto shrugged with a disinterested gesture and continued on his way. He found the place he had come to look for, the scroll room. The Uzumaki began to search among the oldest scrolls, looking with some impatience for what he had come to find. Where is it? Naruto wondered impatiently. It shouldn't be long before they find the old man unconscious and tighten the security. He continued in his mind when his hand reached a large, dusty scroll. Found it. Naruto smiled at seeing the scroll's name. Naruto was about to leave when, suddenly, he quickly hid behind a bookshelf. A few seconds later, the room's door opened. A duo of guards entered the scroll room. I don't understand why we have to guard this place. It's full of rats and dust, complained the voice of a young man, not much older than Naruto. Idiot. This place contains all the village's techniques. Do you know how important that is? Another voice admonished, more adult and experienced. Enlighten me? Asked the younger one, though Naruto could sense the irony in his voice and his lack of interest. Most of the jutsus we all learn are recorded here. If a rival village got hold of that knowledge, they could devise tactics to make our jutsus useless or even improve them by acquiring them. And where did those jutsus come from? Questioned the younger one with a hint of curiosity in his voice. Most of them come from the clans. By joining Konoha, they have to give up some of their techniques. They usually offer the least important ones for them, but in the hands of others, they can be an incredible weapon. The older voice responded, looking at some scrolls Naruto had examined a few minutes ago. Do you know the third's nickname? The veteran asked. The god of shinobi, right? The younger one replied. The other nickname? The professor? Yes. Naruto observed from the corner of his eye how the older one nodded. They say the third has mastered all the techniques and jutsus here. Amazing, commented the younger guard with a whistle of admiration. Suddenly, a scroll fell beside Naruto, causing him to startle. He looked up in confusion and discovered that a rat had caused it. Damn rat, Naruto thought, though he had a strong urge to say it out loud. The two guards had fallen silent, and Naruto noticed their slow, silent footsteps approaching the bookshelf where he was hiding. Shit, Naruto thought, feeling cold sweat running down his back. His mind worked frantically, devising a way to escape. The shadows drew closer and closer, and with each step they took, Naruto's heart pounded harder, and a lump formed in his throat. Suddenly, rapid footsteps echoed from the hallway, alarming both Naruto and the two guards approaching his location. We have an emergency. The third has been attacked, a new guard declared from the door. As quickly as he said it, he left, followed by the other two guards. Naruto allowed himself to sigh, relaxing his tense body when the footsteps faded into the distance. Without wasting more time, he got up and, not without some irony, made a rude gesture at the rat that had inadvertently revealed his hiding place. The Uzumaki went out into the hallway and slipped through one of the windows, disappearing into the night. He wandered until he reached the forest where Mizuki had told him to go. Once there, he sat down and opened the scroll. Let's see. The first technique is Kagebushin no Jutsu? Naruto read. But what? Why does it start with the one I'm worst at? Naruto complained, then smiled like a sly fox. Should I say, right? He laughed to himself and then focused on learning everything he could from the scroll and the technique he had come to find. He would have some time until they found him, and he didn't plan to waste it. Iruka lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling of his room, meditating on the words the Hokage had said to him. Iruka. Yes, Hokage-sama? I understand how you feel, but Naruto has grown up without knowing the love of a relative like you, the Hokage revealed with a somewhat sad tone. Iruka's thoughts quickly took him back to that day 12 years ago. The nine-tailed fox fought against all the village's ninjas, its paws crushing entire houses and its tails causing hurricanes that destroyed everything nearby. The ninjas' cries of pain echoed. One of the ninjas pulled Iruka away from the battlefield. Let me go. My father and mother are still fighting, young Iruka exclaimed with tears streaming from his eyes. He tried to break free, but the grip of the ninja pulling him away was too strong. Something that remained etched in Iruka's mind was the furious and bloodthirsty gaze of the nine-tailed fox, with its scarlet eye. It was a memory that gave him nightmares at night, recalling that fateful day when he lost his parents. A loud knock on his apartment door pulled Iruka out of his thoughts. Iruka-sensei, wake up! It was Mizuki's voice, sounding distressed. Iruka got up and quickly went to the door to open it. Mizuki was panting, his silver hair disheveled, and his eyes filled with worry. What's happening? Iruka asked with a knot in his throat. Were they under attack? We need to go to Hokage-sama, Mizuki replied seriously. Naruto has taken the scroll of forbidden techniques as a prank, Mizuki revealed, his face pale and cold sweat running down his forehead. Iruka couldn't help but gasp in surprise. Hokage-sama, we can't allow this prank, declared one of the jonin, angry. Yes, it's a forbidden scroll that's too dangerous. Forbidden by the previous Hokage. Another jonin agreed. If used for evil, it could cause great problems. If he takes it out of the village, it could be even worse, added another ninja in a worried tone. Half a day has already passed since he took the scroll, the third revealed with a serious look. We must hurry and find Naruto, he ordered. Yes, sir. All the ninjas spread out throughout the village with the mission of finding Naruto. Naruto was breathing heavily after training vigorously to learn the jutsus from the forbidden scroll. Footsteps echoed, slow and calm, but somehow, Naruto could feel the anger in them. The Uzumaki looked up to find Iruka. Hey, Naruto! Iruka spoke with an exhausted expression, but his eyes shone with annoyance. Naruto laughed, scratching the back of his neck. You found me. I could only learn 2 jutsus, Naruto revealed with a cheerful smile. Hey, you're all bruised. What were you doing here? Iruka asked curiously, seeing that Naruto's clothes were covered in dust, with some parts torn and tattered. Doesn't matter. Hey, I'm going to try an incredible jutsu, Naruto declared enthusiastically. If I can do it, you'll let me graduate. Iruka's eyes widened in surprise. But how much had the Uzumaki been practicing to be like this? Iruka wondered mentally. Naruto. Where did you get that scroll? Iruka asked with interest. Oh, this. Naruto turned his head to see the scroll tied to his back. Mizuki-sensei told me about it and also about this place. Naruto flashed a big smile. He said that if I showed you this jutsu, you'd surely pass me. Iruka stood still like a statue. Mizuki, he thought, surprised. then heard a whistling sound in the air. He quickly reacted and pushed Naruto. Kunais flew and embedded themselves in Irika's skin, causing him to stagger back and crash against the wooden wall of a nearby cabin. "Good job finding the idiot," Mizuki praised sarcastically from the top of a tree branch. "I see. So, this is what's happening," Irika commented, grimacing in pain. He had kunais stuck all over his body, feeling the blood flowing from his wounds. Naruto stood still, confused and unsure of what to do. "Naruto, give me the scroll," Mizuki ordered seriously. "Huh? What? What's going on here?" "Hey!" Naruto's head turned from side to side, his gaze shifting between Irika and Mizuki repeatedly. "Naruto, no matter what happens, don't give them the scroll," Irika replied, pulling one of the kunais from his chest. "It's a dangerous scroll containing forbidden jutsus. Mizuki used you to get his hands on it." Naruto shot a distrustful and fierce look at Mizuki, who simply smiled mockingly and disdainfully. "Naruto, it doesn't make sense for you to have it. I'll tell you the truth," Mizuki declared, surprising Irika. No, don't." Irika tried to stop him, but Mizuki continued. "12 years ago, you know about the demon fox that was sealed, right?" Mizuki commented, leaning forward slightly. "Since that day, a new special rule was created in this village." "A new rule?" Naruto asked, surprised, his eyes wide open. "But Naruto, that rule couldn't be told to you." Mizuki closed his eyes in an annoyed expression. "Not to me? What's that rule? Tell me," Naruto demanded with a shout. Mizuki laughed, a dark and malevolent laugh that sent a shiver down the Uzumaki's spine. "What kind of rule?" Naruto asked again, still with a stunned expression. "The rule is that no one can say that you are the nine-tailed demon fox," Mizuki revealed with a cold look. "What?" Naruto took a step back, his legs gave out and he fell on his back, his face pale and stunned, his eyes opened so wide it seemed they would pop out of their sockets. "What do you mean?" "Stop!" Irika shouted with all his might in an attempt to stop Mizuki. "It means that you..." Mizuki began with a mocking smile that quickly turned evil. "You are the demon fox. You are the one who killed Irika's parents and destroyed the village. You were sealed by the Hokage you admire so much." "Shut up!" Irika roared, trying to move, but a lash of pain from his wounds kept him still. The Hokage's words returned to his mind. "Irika, Naruto has grown up without knowing the love of a relative and has been hated because of the incident. He pulls all those pranks to get people's attention. Anyway, he wants to find out the origin of his existence. Despite all those acts, Naruto acts tough, but he's really suffering more than anyone. You were ignored by everyone," Mizuki continued. "Didn't you think it was strange that no one paid attention to you?" He continued, taking one of the giant shuriken from his back and spinning it, ready to throw it. Irika did the same. "He hates you," Mizuki declared with a sick laugh. "No one will ever accept you," he added venomously. "That scroll was used to seal you," he finished, throwing the shuriken at Naruto, who stood paralyzed. The Uzumaki turned around and closed his eyes, waiting for the pain to come. But it never did. When he opened his eyes, he saw Irika protecting him with the giant shuriken embedded in his back. Naruto stood petrified, frozen like an ice statue, but with an expression of surprise etched in great detail on his face, for what his teacher had just done. Some of Irika's blood splattered onto the Uzumaki's cheek. "Why?" was all Naruto could say. "Because you were just like me," Irika revealed in a calm voice. "My whole family died. No one cared about me. I was a bad student, always messing up in class because I wanted to get people's attention. No one would notice me if I had been a good student. That's why I've always acted like an idiot, pretending to be tough." Irika's tone slowly broke. Tears welled up in his eyes and streamed down his cheeks, falling onto Naruto's face, whose eyes widened. "Naruto, you've always been alone, haven't you? Have you always pretended to be tough?" Irika asked in a broken voice as he cried. "I'm sorry, Naruto. You wouldn't feel that way if I had realized." Naruto's expression softened, and something like hope shone in his eyes. Mizuki laughed slightly. "Don't make me laugh, Irika. You've hated him since he killed your family," Mizuki exclaimed fiercely. "He only wants the scroll," he continued, pointing at Naruto. Naruto's expression turned to one of distrust, and he ran into the forest. "Naruto! Naruto!" Irika exclaimed, extending his hand, trying to reach his young student. Mizuki climbed down from the tree branch with a small, mocking laugh. "Naruto isn't the type of person you can change his mind," Mizuki declared, amused. "He's going to take revenge on the village with that scroll. Have you seen his eyes? Remember them? They are the eyes of the fox." "Naruto won't do that." Irika pulled the giant shuriken from his back and slowly stood up, throwing it at Mizuki, who easily dodged it by moving to the side. Irika, better than anyone, knew the gaze of the nine-tailed fox. He had dreamed of that gaze for entire nights. Naruto didn't have the fox's eyes. Those blue eyes weren't the red eyes of the fox. There was no bloodlust or fury, but a feeling of sadness, loneliness, and a deep desire for acceptance. "I'm going to kill Naruto and take the scroll," Mizuki spoke confidently. "Then I'll deal with you," he added, then pursued Naruto. "I won't let you," Irika decided with a determined look, chasing after him. "We should have killed him," exclaimed an angry voice. A group of furious jonin gathered in the courtyard of the Hokage's mansion, discussing Naruto. "Now we have to find him before he unleashes the power of the demon fox," declared another voice urgently. "He's very dangerous. If you find him, kill him," ordered a third voice, followed by shouts of approval. Inside the Hokage's mansion, the third Hokage observed everything happening through his crystal ball. "At last, I find him and I can see him," the third Hokage spoke, somewhat relieved. The crystal ball showed Naruto jumping between the branches of the trees. Mizuki told him, "Now even I don't know what Naruto is going to do," he continued, worried. "And the power that's sealed could be released," the Hokage thought, concerned. "And he also has the scroll of seals. The chances of him breaking the seal and releasing the nine-tailed fox are 1 in a million. But it's not impossible." The Hokage pondered with a tense and bitter expression. "And if that happens?" The third Hokage grimaced at the thought of what could occur. Irika leaped between the tree branches when he saw a small scarlet flash. It was Naruto. "I found him," Irika thought, relieved. "Naruto," Irika called to his student. "Give me the scroll. Mizuki is coming for it." Naruto paused for a moment with a determined look and leaped with all his might towards Irika, tackling him. "Ha!" Irika's eyes widened as he felt a sharp pain run through his body as Naruto collided with his chest. Both fell to the ground. Naruto staggered, panting heavily. He took a few steps back and leaned against a tree. "What?" Irika got up with a grimace of pain. "Why, Naruto?" A puff of smoke appeared, and Irika transformed into Mizuki. "How did you know it wasn't Irika?" Mizuki finished with an angry look. Naruto chuckled lightly, and another puff of smoke appeared. "Because I am Irika," Irika revealed when the smoke dispersed. "I see." Mizuki got up with a slight smile. Unbeknownst to either of them, Naruto wasn't far away. Hidden behind a tree and clutching the scroll, he listened attentively to everything happening. "Hee. You even transformed into the murderer of your parents to protect him," Mizuki mocked with disdain. "I won't let the scroll fall into the hands of an idiot like you," Irika replied, frowning. "You're the idiot. Naruto and I are the same." "The same?" Irika narrowed his eyes, not quite understanding what Mizuki meant. "If you use what's in those scrolls, you can do whatever you want," Mizuki revealed in a dreamy voice with an ambitious expression. "There's no way that Fox won't try to use the power of the scrolls. You have to accept it, even if you don't like it," Mizuki determined. "Yes," Irika accepted. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise upon hearing that. Then he looked down in sadness. "Damn, I knew it. Even Irika-sensei admits it," Naruto thought, clutching the scroll. "He doesn't trust me." The demon fox would. But Naruto is different, Irika continued with a weak smile. I think he is, one of my best students, Irika declared, his eyes softening. He might not be the hardest worker, and he's the most mischievous, and that's why no one accepts him. But he already knows what it's like to suffer pain in his heart. Irika lifted his head with a determined look. He is no longer the nine-tailed fox, he said decisively. He is a member of the Hidden Leaf Village. He is Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto couldn't help but laugh, forming a happy smile on his face. A tear welled up and gently rolled down his cheek. Mizuki growled slightly, clenching his teeth in anger. All right, as you say, Mizuki said. He reached for his back to take the last large shuriken he had. Irika tried to move, but the wound on his back sent a stabbing pain that made him shudder. Irika growled and saw blood gushing from the wound. Then he looked back ahead. Irika, I said I'd deal with you later, but I've changed my mind, Mizuki declared, starting to spin the shuriken. Hurry up and die, he continued with a malicious smile. Irika stood still, observing Mizuki's hateful and bloodthirsty gaze. It was strange. Mizuki reminded him more of the demon fox than Naruto did. So, this is... Irika closed his eyes, waiting for his end. But before Mizuki could throw the shuriken, someone hit him, and the shuriken flew, slicing through a tree branch. Naruto, Irika thought, surprised. You shouldn't have done that, Mizuki spoke furiously. Naruto stood up with a determined look, his straight scarlet hair blowing in the wind. The forbidden scroll was beside him. Don't touch Irika-sensei or I'll kill you, Naruto declared grimly. Idiot, why did you come? Irika exclaimed, worried. Run. Don't worry, Irika-sensei. This will be easy. Naruto made a dismissive gesture with his hand, smiling boldly with overwhelming confidence. Hey, Mizuki, right? I have something to reveal to you. Naruto gave him a sly smile. I already knew about the fox and the law, he confessed. Shut up. I can defeat a brat like you with one blow. Mizuki spoke arrogantly. Irika, what do you know about the Uzumaki clan? The conversation with the third Hokage returned to Irika's mind. That they originated from Uzumaki, which was destroyed during one of the ninja wars. Do you know why? Because they were masters of Fuinjutsu. They weren't just masters of Fuinjutsu, they were masters of chakra in general, knowing the secrets of chakra better than any village. That's why the Chunin of Uzumaki had the level of Jonin from any other village. In short, during their heyday they were the most powerful village in terms of ninja quality. Many names from Uzumaki are still famous today. The third Hokage straightened up and looked up. The celestial demon, the divine doctor, the invincible warrior, the painter of nightmares, the weaver of shadows, the infinite whirlpool, and lastly, their leader, the enlightened. The third Hokage returned his gaze to Irika. It is said that the village was destroyed, but there were no scrolls, so none of the villages that joined to destroy it could obtain Uzumaki knowledge. By the time our scouts arrived, they only found 3 blue crystals. I had the fourth Hokage, an expert in Fuinjutsu, analyze them, and he reached a terrifying conclusion. Irika felt a knot in his throat, but managed to ask the next question. What conclusion? The Uzumaki found a way to seal their essence and minds within those stones to preserve their knowledge until a descendant came to claim it. That's why 3 years ago, I gave the 3 crystals to Naruto as a birthday present. I wanted to see what Naruto could learn, and I have a feeling Naruto is possibly the most powerful genin of his generation. Irika returned to the present, observing Naruto making a hand seal with a determined look. Try it, Naruto challenged confidently. I'll return the pain 1,000-fold. Then do it, demon fox, Mizuki shouted provocatively. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto invoked the jutsu he had learned from the Forbidden Scroll, surprising both Irika and Mizuki. The entire forest was flooded with Naruto clones. Hundreds, no, there were thousands of Naruto clones. While Mizuki was surprised by the sheer number of clones, the real Naruto moved at a breakneck speed. He could even be faster than Sasuke Uchiha. the best genin of Naruto's generation. One of Naruto's clones swept the ground, and Mizuki was left in the air, falling in slow motion while the real Uzumaki prepared for his attack. First stage, Black Turtle Fist. Naruto collided a powerful punch against Mizuki's face, creating a shockwave. Mizuki flew until he crashed into a tree with his face shattered. He fell to the ground unconscious. Irika stood still and speechless, surprised by what he had just witnessed. Heh! He really managed to replicate himself more than 1,000 times. And none of them are illusions. A boy so young using Kagebunshin so easily, plus that speed and strength, he could surpass the previous Hokages. Irika meditated with a smile. I think I overdid it a bit, Naruto commented with a small laugh, seeing Mizuki's shattered face. Naruto, come here, Irika requested with a smile. There's something I want to give you. Has anyone found him? One of the ninjas asked desperately. No, another replied, worried. Damn it, this is not good, a ninja commented with a grimace. He must be far from here by now, warned another ninja seriously. There's no need to worry, the third Hokage intervened, approaching the group. Hokage-sama, all the ninjas turned to observe him. He'll be back soon, the third Hokage declared with a smile on his face, smoking his pipe. Ready, sensei? Naruto asked, somewhat impatient. Yes, you can open your eyes now, Irika replied. Naruto slowly opened his eyes to see Irika, but something was strange. Something was missing. He quickly realized that Irika's ninja headband was missing. Congratulations on graduating, Irika declared with a smile. Naruto's eyes widened as he noticed something on his forehead. It wasn't his goggles. It was a ninja headband, Irika's headband. Let's celebrate. I'll treat you to a bowl of ramen. Naruto said nothing, his eyes shadowed by his scarlet hair. Irika opened his eyes to see if something was wrong. A moment later, Naruto had thrown himself into his arms. Hey, that hurts, Irika commented with a smile. I was going to tell Naruto that the hardest part of being a ninja has just begun. Well, I'll wait until we get to the restaurant, Irika reflected, then returned the embrace to his precious student. Chapter 2. A New Sword, a New Rival. The day after the incident with Mizuki, Naruto woke up late. The events with Mizuki had lasted all night, and by the time Irika had invited him for ramen to celebrate his graduation, the sun was already rising. He would have preferred to sleep all day, but the third Hokage had summoned him for that night. He wanted to discuss a few things. Naruto knew what he wanted to know, and thus, he instinctively turned his head towards a corner of his room, where 3 clones of Naruto were sitting with their eyes closed in a meditative expression, holding a blue crystal in their hands. It was time to test it. Naruto dispelled the clones. He waited a moment, and a few seconds later all the information, all the training his clones had done while he slept, flooded his mind. He could instinctively feel an improvement in his chakra control. Naruto couldn't help but let a smile of satisfaction grow on his face. That's why he wanted the Kagebunshin no Jutsu. No matter how hard he tried, Naruto couldn't enter all 3 crystals at once. He could only enter one at a time, unless he could create solid clones capable of interacting with their surroundings, as was the case with the Kagebunshin. He no longer had to take turns to enter one crystal at a time. Now he could leave clones inside the mental world of the crystals, learning from the entities sealed within them. Still, I think I need a sword, murmured the Uzumaki, massaging his chin. Inside one of the crystals was a spirit, as Naruto called it, although it was actually the mind and essence of a person sealed within the crystal, who taught Naruto how to use a sword. It had been 3 years since the old man had given him those crystals, so Naruto had been training in swordsmanship for 3 years, but had never bought one. Perhaps it was time. Rising from his bed, Naruto left his room and headed to the bathroom. He washed his sleepy face and brushed his teeth. He then went to the kitchen where he grabbed some cereal and milk for breakfast. Afterward, he returned to his room to decide what to wear. He looked at the worn-out orange tracksuit he used to wear. Naruto smiled nostalgically. He had chosen that orange tracksuit to be flashy, to draw attention from others. Another way to make sure he existed for the rest. But he had left those thoughts behind a long time ago. The only reason he had kept that tracksuit for so long was that he needed everyone in class to keep thinking he was the same stupid and poor student as always. But that was over. He had achieved what he wanted, and now he was a genin. He no longer had to pretend to be weak. It was time to show his true self to his peers. Thus, it was time for new clothes. Noticing all the new things Naruto needed, he looked for his wallet to see how much money he had. Naruto's face turned into a frown. He had money. He had saved a lot over these 3 years. But a sword and a new set of clothes could be expensive, especially if the stupid shop owners raised their prices when they saw him. A smile illuminated the Uzumaki's face when an idea occurred to him. Naruto dressed in his orange tracksuit and put his wallet in his back pocket. Finally, before leaving his apartment, he created 3 clones to put them to train inside the crystals. He then looked at the head protector placed on the bedside table, his ninja head protector. Naruto's expression became serious, and his gaze filled with determination. That was just the first step. First Genin, then Chunin, after that Jonin, and then Hokage. His ninja path was just beginning. Hiruzen slowly observed the newly created shinobi profile of Naruto. His profile said, "I don't have any particular hobbies, and my favorite food, I suppose, is ramen." The third Hokage sighed. "Why haven't you dispelled the Henge no Jutsu?" Hiruzen questioned with a curious look. Naruto looked at him. For a moment there was surprise in his gaze, but then he laughed slightly. "Well, as expected from the strongest ninja in our village, a simple Henge no Jutsu can't fool you," Naruto commented, amused. "As for why I haven't dispelled it," Naruto showed a thoughtful expression. "I think I want to surprise my classmates when we return to class." He made a dismissive gesture with his hand. "But I think you want to talk about other things, don't you?" Naruto finished with a slight smile. There it was, Hiruzen realized. It wasn't the stupid Naruto trying to get attention. No, it was a calmer one. He might still be playful and mischievous, but there was a cold intelligence and cunning in his eyes that wasn't normal for someone his age. There was a slight tense atmosphere in the room. Naruto wanted something from Hiruzen, and Hiruzen wanted something from Naruto. They both knew it and were planning a way to achieve their goals. "The crystals? Have they taught you anything?" Hiruzen began with curiosity. "Yes," Naruto calmly accepted. "What is inside the crystals?" "It's hard to explain. They're not alive, if that's what you're wondering. They didn't seal their mind in the crystal. No, they died during the genocide of Uzumaki. They remember how they died and everything. What they did was seal a part of their mind, a fragment of their consciousness with the knowledge they had. Once all the knowledge they have to impart is given, the crystals will be destroyed," Naruto explained, then made a sad grimace. "What have they taught you?" "Taijutsu, Kenjutsu, and chakra control. That's the knowledge in each of the crystals you gave me. Don't expect too much knowledge, either. These crystals don't contain great figures of Uzumaki like the Celestial Demon, the Invincible Warrior, or the Shadow Weaver. Who are they then? Somewhat prominent jonin from Uzumaki. Nothing more, nothing less." "Their names?" Hiruzen asked, raising an eyebrow. Perhaps he might have heard of them. Naruto remained silent, staring at him. Hiruzen saw the internal struggle in his eyes. After a few moments he sighed, defeated. "Uzumaki Kaida in Kenjutsu, Uzumaki Haruto in Taijutsu, and Uzumaki Kaido in chakra control." Nothing. The names didn't ring a bell to Hiruzen, although he was sure they were somewhat important in Uzumaki. "Do they have any relation to any prominent figure in Uzumaki?" "None." Naruto responded quickly and confidently, his gaze fixed on Hiruzen's eyes, who nodded slightly. "How do you access these crystals?" "If what you're interested in knowing is if someone who isn't an Uzumaki can access them, the answer is a resounding no. The crystals are made to be sensitive to Uzumaki chakra. As you know, each clan has similar chakra since they're relatives. It's through chakra that the crystals can determine if the person holding them is worthy of entering to learn." Hiruzen nodded. He already expected that answer. Minato had tried to access the crystals in various ways, but never succeeded. Kushina, on the other hand, never had the chance to try. And now Hiruzen regretted that decision. Uzumaki Kaido is the one teaching you about chakra control, right? Hiruzen commented softly. What has he taught you so far? I can walk on trees and water with ease. Currently, he's teaching me intermediate-level chakra control techniques that will help me. Can you specify? No. Naruto crossed his arms with a firm expression. I understand your curiosity, old man, but this village, although it's my home, hasn't given me any reason to share the secrets of Uzushiogakure with you. It's true that what I'm learning could greatly advance Konoha's knowledge of chakra, but here, with a few exceptions, no one has shown me respect. The only thing they've given me is contempt and hatred. Hiruzen sighed. He knew that sooner or later the hatred adults showed Naruto would have consequences. Maybe in time he could convince him to share that knowledge. Alright, last two questions. How strong are you? And how did you know about Kage no Bushin? The third Hokage asked seriously. Kage Bushin was a technique that the second Hokage exchanged for some sealing techniques from Uzushiogakure. That's why I knew of its existence. Kaido, Kaida, and Haruto told me about it and its secrets, and how it could speed up my training. That's why I wanted it. Naruto looked up with a contemplative expression. As for my strength, it's hard to say. I don't know how strong Sasuke really is, but let's say I'm probably stronger than him, he continued confidently. Hiruzen nodded slightly. All right, Naruto. Now tell me what you want in return for all this. Oh, nothing really. Just money. Money? Hiruzen raised an eyebrow in surprise. As I told you, I've been training in Kenjutsu for 3 years, but I don't have a sword to test my knowledge and use it, Naruto commented with an ambitious smile. That's why I need money. Don't you have money? The truth is, I've been saving all this time, but whenever I enter stores, if they even let me in, they grossly inflate the prices. The Uzumaki explained casually. Then I'll go with you. That way, no one will raise the prices, Hiruzen proposed. He couldn't let this happen. It was unfair to Naruto. Old man, using political or physical force to make people do what one wants will only create more discontent. Naruto pointed out seriously. That's how people are. When they're forced to do something they don't want to do, they'll obey, obviously, but inside, their anger will build up, and when you're not around, they'll end up taking it out on me. Either by treating me with more resentment or perhaps even refusing to let me into their stores. I see. Hiruzen smiled softly with a hint of sadness on his face. You're very mature, Naruto. Where's that coming from? Naruto let out a small, embarrassed laugh. People who are hated and despised, people who don't have parental figures to depend on, we have to grow up faster than others. It's not a matter of choice. We have to do it because we must adapt to the cruelty this world shows us. Naruto continued. His gaze shifted to the window, and his eyes got lost in the vastness of the blue sky. I'm sorry, Naruto. If only I had been a better Hokage. You wouldn't have gone through. Everything I've experienced has led me to who I am, so don't apologize, Naruto requested with a kind expression. It's true it might have been difficult at first, but I was able to move forward because I had your guidance in the toughest moments. So don't apologize. Could you have done things better? Probably, but we can't change the past. Focus on the present to improve our future. That's all I can ask of you, old man. Naruto finished with a big smile. Hiruzen sighed, and a smile of his own spread across his wrinkled face. But the room's door opened, catching Naruto's attention. A boy, a few years younger than Naruto, entered. He had spiky brown hair and black eyes. He wore a yellow shirt with the Konoha symbol in the center, a blue scarf, and gray pants with patches on the knees, along with blue sandals. Old man, fight me! The boy exclaimed, holding shuriken in his hands. Naruto tilted his head, somewhat surprised but also interested in this sudden intervention. Will it never end? The third Hokage mentally asked himself, adjusting his hat. Oh, not again, a voice echoed from the hallway, followed by quick footsteps. The boy took a few steps until he tripped over something on the floor and fell face first. Damn it! The boy cursed, getting up and rubbing his injured forehead. Who set a trap there? Are you all right? A voice exclaimed from the room's door. A man with sunglasses, wearing his ninja head protector as a bandana, added, "And there's no trap there," adjusting his sunglasses. "Who is this brat?" Naruto mentally questioned, narrowing his eyes. "Hey!" The boy looked at Naruto defiantly. On the other hand, the man with sunglasses noticed Naruto's presence and gave him a look full of hatred. "I know. You did something," the boy accused Naruto. "You tripped on your own. Idiot!" the Uzumaki replied, annoyed, grabbing the boy by the scarf. "Hey Naruto, leave him alone, he's the third Hokage's grandson." The man with sunglasses intervened, pointing at Hiruzen. Naruto stood still, looked at the old man, then at the man with sunglasses. "Go ahead, hit me if you dare," the boy provoked with a smile. "Now that he knows who I am, he won't dare. Just like my master and grandfather," the boy continued in his mind. "Do you think I care about that? You little brat." Naruto didn't hesitate and gave the boy a good hit on the head. The boy let out a cry of pain. The man with sunglasses was horrified by such an act, and Hiruzen was somewhat surprised. But neither of them did anything to punish Naruto as he left the room without saying another word. Naruto walked down the street with a somewhat annoyed expression. The reason? The same boy he had hit was now following him in a not-so-discreet manner. He could hear the boy's footsteps as he changed his hiding spot from the edge of a house to behind a lamppost. "Stop following me. What the hell do you want?" Naruto exclaimed, turning and pointing at the boy, the third Hokage's grandson, who camouflaged himself behind a cloak that mimicked the texture of the wooden wall. But instead of being horizontal like the walls would, the cloak's texture was vertical. "You're not fooling anyone with that, idiot." "I'm surprised you were able to see through my camouflage. The rumors about you are true," the boy declared with a smile. "I'll let you be my boss," he continued, pointing at Naruto with his finger. "Huh?" Naruto frowned, confused. "But in return, teach me the sexy jutsu you used to defeat my grandpa. Please," the boy begged. "Please, boss." "Boss?" Naruto thought, raising an eyebrow. "Wait a minute. If he's the third's grandson, that means many people must praise and respect him, and they'll do anything to adore him." Naruto smiled slyly. "So, you want my sexy jutsu, huh?" Naruto puffed out his chest with pride and leaned against the wall with an indifferent expression. "It's one of my most powerful jutsus," he added with a proud look. "It's capable of defeating the third, as you know." Naruto tilted his head slightly with a lazy smile on his face. He could see the boy's hungry look for that technique. "I'll give it to you, but in return, I need you to do something for me." "Anything," the boy quickly assured. Naruto smiled and turned around. "Follow me then." Together, they walked through the village of Konoha. Naruto was surprised by how the boy's presence changed the way the villagers looked at him. The looks of hatred and disdain were hidden behind complacent smiles and affectionate words towards the boy. The adults mostly ignored him and focused on greeting the third's grandson. It was better than being seen with a hateful expression and a cold look. They reached the ninja shop area of Konoha and entered the most famous one. They first entered a weapons shop, the most famous of all, Dragon Steel. Naruto had seen several jonin regularly enter that shop. He even heard the excited conversations of his classmates when their parents bought them something from that shop or how they dreamed of buying something from it. Dragon Steel was known for its quality but also for its high prices. Naruto had saved a lot of money over the past 3 years, and probably many of his savings would go into this shop. Swords could cost thousands, if not millions, of ryo. But Naruto needed a quality sword capable of absorbing his chakra to perform his sword technique. He could buy a sword that was quality/price, but what good would it be if it broke in a few months? Naruto's chakra was immense and dense, so a normal sword would break very easily, especially if he didn't control his chakra properly. Upon entering, the shop assistant, a pretty woman in her 30s with brown hair and green eyes, greeted them with a charming smile. "Welcome to Dragon Steel," she greeted cordially. "What can I offer you?" She opened her eyes, and as soon as she saw Naruto, her gaze filled with disdain, which was quickly hidden when she saw the boy accompanying him. "Oh, honorable grandson, what brings you here?" she asked the boy, ignoring Naruto's existence. I'm with my boss. The third's grandson crossed his arms with a frown. He didn't like how the woman was ignoring Naruto. Boss. The woman gave Naruto a disgusted look that she barely managed to hide. What do you want? She asked disdainfully. I want a quality sword, Naruto replied with a smile, ignoring the disdain in the woman's tone. Are you sure that She compressed her lips into a thin line. An orphan like you can afford a sword from this place? The woman frowned with a disgusted expression. It depends on the sword, that's why I came to see, Naruto replied with a shrug. If you dare to steal something, the woman threatened with overflowing annoyance in her voice. Hey, what's wrong with you? The boy exclaimed with an angry look. My boss would never steal anything. Honorable grandson, The woman tried to excuse herself with a scared look. Brat, it's okay. Naruto held the boy who was about to jump on the woman. She didn't mean that, right? He continued, then gave the woman a firm and cold look. Correct, it wasn't my intention to assume that our dear customer could steal something. The woman commented, then let out a nervous laugh. Please, go ahead. The swords are in aisle number 7. Thank you. Naruto smiled indifferently and headed to aisle number 7, where the boy continued grumbling, annoyed. Why did you let her treat you that way? The boy asked, annoyed. They always treat me that way, Naruto replied with a casual shrug. His gaze wandered among the different swords in the aisle. Always? The boy repeated with a surprised expression. Naruto nodded. When I was your age, I was kicked out of the orphanage I lived in because, supposedly, no family wanted to adopt me, and I was a waste of resources. The truth is, I didn't miss much because the owners treated me badly, and the kids either treated me with indifference or beat me up when the caretakers didn't see. It was the weekend, so I didn't have to go to the academy. I went to the Hokage's mansion to talk to your grandpa about what happened, but his secretary always kicked me out, claiming your grandpa was busy. I wandered homeless all weekend. I was lucky that old man Ichiraka Ramen let me eat for free because otherwise, I would have had to eat from the trash. On the last day, a group of villagers beat me up, and your grandpa found me lying in an alley. He took me to the hospital, and when I recovered, I told him everything that happened. He sent the villagers who beat me and those who kicked me out of the orphanage to jail, and to make sure it didn't happen again. He gave me the apartment where I now live along with an allowance. Naruto saw how the wound on his finger had already disappeared at an astonishing speed. As always. That's... The boy lowered his gaze and clenched his fists. Unfair. Naruto smiled slightly and ruffled the boy's hair. You don't have to worry about me. I'm used to it. Don't be sad and help me find a good sword, kid. The boy sighed, defeated, and nodded to start searching the aisle for a sword for Naruto. The Uzumaki's gaze softened, seeing the boy diligently looking for a good sword for him. It was nice to know someone who not only opposed the way he was treated but also tried to help him. Naruto left the katana he had in hand. Although it had a good edge, the sword's balance left much to be desired. He walked down the aisle with a critical eye, looking for the perfect sword for his fighting style. After a few moments of intense searching, he found another katana in a barrel. It was an elegant design with a black hilt with golden details like the guard, while the sword itself was all black. Beautiful, undoubtedly almost worthy of being called a masterpiece. Naruto hurried to test the weapon's balance, pleasantly surprised to find it perfect. It was time for the most crucial test: how well the sword's material absorbed chakra. The Uzumaki closed his eyes and let out a deep sigh. He focused and let his chakra flow like a river into his hands, soaking the sword's edge. There were complications at first. The metal seemed to reject the chakra, but after a few moments of persistence, it allowed Naruto's chakra to flood in. It was perfect, Naruto realized as he lifted it with a smile on his face. It was time to check its price, and the Uzumaki almost had a mini heart attack. 500,000 Ryo, almost all of his savings. If he bought this sword, he might be left without funds to buy clothes. Maybe he could convince the third to... Naruto shook his head and left the sword where it was. It simply wasn't meant for him. He would probably, to his dismay, have to look for a shop a bit cheaper. Boss! the boy shouted and approached with a sheathed katana. Look at this, he added excitedly. A katana? Naruto tilted his head slightly. Naruto took the sheath and frowned. The sheath seemed to be made of some kind of hardwood, weighing much more than a simple stick. The sheath had a matte black coating that didn't reflect light, while everything was smooth to the touch with a blue seijo with golden dot accents. The boy's eyes shone with pride, as if he had found something incredible. Naruto sighed and decided to swing it to make the third's grandson a little happy. It was a sword meant more for an adult due to its length. Oh! Naruto couldn't help but whistle in admiration. The swing was surprisingly smooth and balanced, more than the katana he had left earlier. The weight distribution was perfect. Naruto opened his eyes in surprise. Immediately, the Uzumaki tried to draw the katana from its sheath, but it didn't budge. Naruto frowned and inspected the sheath's material. It didn't take long to realize it was made to absorb chakra. Naruto reinforced his entire body with chakra and then let it flow into the sheath. He immediately tried to open it. The sword slowly drew from the sheath without any resistance, with a clink that echoed down the aisle. Naruto's eyes widened. He couldn't help but marvel at the sword, a masterpiece too perfect that made the previous katana look ridiculous. It was an uchigatana, possibly similar in length to an okatana. Not long enough to be considered a nodachi, but much longer than the average uchigatana. The hilt had a pattern closer to a real katana, giving it the traditional diamond shape in the negative space. The manuki, in the style of the golden dragon, was inserted under the hilt to allow the fingers to grip it. The handguard was golden and deep navy blue, octagonal with two trapezoidal halves, each with patches of golden dot pattern and a grove motif with gold rings, within which were several circles in groups of 3 arranged in triangular patterns, and the gold habaki/fuller also had a similar relief pattern. The hamon, wave crest, pattern presented was a Kawazuko choji or tadpole-headed clove flower style hamon. The blade had also been given prominent temper lines. Naruto tried to touch the katana to test its resilience, but as soon as he touched it, he cut his hand and blood flowed onto the sword. Impressively, the sword absorbed the blood and shortened in length until it fit perfectly in Naruto's hand. Naruto's eyes widened in astonishment. Had he bonded with the sword? Naruto had heard stories from Kaida about swords that had a certain level of consciousness to choose their user and bond with them, making them more lethal because they perfectly adapted to their wielder and their sword techniques. Instinctively, Naruto poured all his unfiltered chakra into the sword. With the previous katana, doing so could have destroyed it. But not this sword. It drank his chakra as naturally as a human breathes. It absorbed his chakra like a sponge absorbs water. Naruto turned his head towards the boy. "Where did you find it?" Naruto asked curiously. "It was in a barrel. It seemed a bit old because it had accumulated dust," replied the third Hokage's grandson. "What do you think?" "It's perfect," Naruto answered, still surprised. "Didn't it have a price tag?" "No." The boy shook his head. "Well." Naruto tilted his head with a somewhat nervous expression. "Keep looking. You have a good eye, kid." The boy nodded and went to look for another sword. As soon as he left, Naruto sheathed the sword and planted it on the ground. A sword of that caliber could be worth millions of ryo. Naruto didn't have that amount, so he considered stealing it, hiding it in his shadow and taking it away. He was about to do it, but doing so would prove the shop assistant right in thinking he was a thief. And he didn't want to disappoint the kid. Naruto sighed. "Kid!" He called out to the third Hokage's grandson, who quickly approached. "Is something wrong?" the boy asked, confused. "Nothing, let's take this sword to see how much it costs and if I can buy it," Naruto replied, to which the boy nodded, and they both headed to the shop assistant's counter. They waited in line for a bit until they reached the counter, where the shop assistant's smile disappeared, and her gaze turned cold upon seeing Naruto. "You've already realized you can't afford anything here?" the woman asked mockingly. "Actually, I want to know how much it costs," Naruto replied calmly. "Didn't it have a price tag?" the woman questioned with suspicion. "No," Naruto answered with a calm smile. "And he found it, so be careful about calling someone a thief," he continued, pointing to the third Hokage's grandson. The woman blushed and said nothing. She simply inspected the staff for a price tag. Not finding it, she frowned. "Wait here. I'll go get the owner," the shop assistant declared before leaving and going upstairs to the second floor of the shop. After a few minutes of waiting, the woman returned with a venerable and slight old man, with bushy eyebrows, narrowed eyes, and a long braided beard with a purple cord that reached his waist. "Mr. Tatsunami, this is the katana that doesn't have a price tag," the shop assistant said, showing the staff to the old man. "Could it be a mistake?" the woman asked. "It's not a mistake," the old man replied in a firm and serious voice. "It has no price," he added, taking the staff with a frown. "Who is the person wanting to buy it?" "Me," Naruto spoke, catching the old man's attention, who directed his penetrating gaze towards him. "Before I give it a price, I want you to do something," the old man said, throwing the staff to Naruto. "Try to open it." Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Could this old man know the truth behind the katana? What should he do? If Naruto opened it and revealed the sword, he was sure they would charge him a price higher than 1,000,000 ryo, something Naruto couldn't afford. So, he decided he would simply pretend to try to open it and make it pass as a normal staff. Naruto slowly tried to open the katana, but at the moment of pretending, he looked down and opened the katana to reveal the beautiful sword it concealed. "You know the price of that sword, don't you?" the old man spoke softly. "Yes, probably over 1,000,000 ryo," Naruto said, looking down. "Do you have the money to pay for such a sword?" the woman asked, and Naruto didn't need to see her to know the smile on her face. Naruto sighed, defeated and dejected. "I'll return it." "There's no need," the old man intervened, raising a hand. "You can keep the sword for free." "What?" Naruto looked up in surprise, meeting the old man's eyes. They weren't cold like those of all the villagers. They were warm and friendly. "Mr. Tatsunami?" the woman exclaimed, shocked. "It's 1,000,000 ryo sword. It's too valuable for a kid like him to take." "She's right," Naruto commented with a grimace. "It's too valuable a sword to be given for free." "Perhaps, but when I asked you to unsheath it, you decided, even knowing you couldn't afford it, to show the sword when you could have tried to deceive me," the old man revealed with a smile. "That sword has been in this shop since I opened it. I found it near the ruins of what once was Yuzushigakure, and no one except a few ninjas has noticed it, but none has been able to open it except you. Do you know who those ninjas were who tried to acquire that sword?" Naruto shook his head. "The White Fang of Konoha, one of the 3 Sannin, and even the 4th Hokage. All of them realized it was a sword, and all of them tried to open it and failed. Do you know why?" The Uzumaki shook his head again. "Because the sword didn't consider them worthy. The sword saw something in you that it didn't see in any of those ninjas who are considered legends by our village," the old man declared with a smile. "That's why I believe you should keep it. It would be rude to take it away when the sword has bonded with you." "You're amazing, boss," declared the Hokage's grandson with a smile, his eyes looking at Naruto as if he were some kinds of hero. "Thank you very much," Naruto bowed to the old man. "I'll never forget the kindness you've shown me." "There's no need to thank me," the old man commented, amused. "At least I know that when I die, that sword will be in the hands of the one who deserves it," he continued, then tilted his head. "You're an Uzumaki, right? Does the hair give it away?" Naruto let out a nervous laugh and scratched the back of his head. "A bit, though it was your eyes that made me realize." "My eyes? I thought all Uzumaki had violet or similar eyes." Naruto tilted his head, somewhat confused. All the Uzumaki he knew, thanks to the stones, had eyes in various shades of purple. None had sapphire blue eyes like Naruto. "You know very little about your family," the old man spoke with amusement. "Wait here. I'll go get something to give you," he continued, and a few minutes later, he returned with a box full of personalized kunai. Unlike normal kunai, these had 3 blades instead of 1, and the handle was thicker than usual. "Are you going to give me these?" Naruto frowned, puzzled by the old man's gifts. "The person who asked me to make them died 12 years ago, and since then, they've been gathering dust. I think it would be beneficial for someone to take them, The old man declared with a shrug. I don't know if I can accept this, Naruto said doubtfully. Nonsense, boy. Believe me, on a battlefield, you'll regret not having them. I'm giving them to you because I don't want the owner of that sword. He pointed to the katana with one of the kunai. To die on the battlefield. I want to ensure your survival. I'll take them, but I'll pay for them, Naruto declared. Boy, I'm not going to go bankrupt. Mr. Tatsunami stopped and sighed, seeing Naruto's firm look. These will be free, but you'll have to buy the next ones. Okay. Naruto nodded in agreement. All right, now take all this before I change my mind, the old man continued with a smile. Mr. Tatsunami, we can't. The woman began to complain as Naruto took the box with the kunai and the sword. Mrs. Haruno, this is my shop and I decide who I give things to and who I don't. The old man spoke harshly to his assistant. So don't bother me about this. Naruto and the third's grandson left the shop before the woman could say anything to them. Naruto couldn't help but smile happily at everything he had obtained. So, what's next, boss? The Hokage's grandson asked curiously. Now it's time to teach you the sexy jutsu, Naruto replied with a big smile. Naruto and the third Hokage's grandson headed to a nearby forest to train in peace. All right, the basics are to focus on the curves. Go ahead, Naruto explained to the boy who nodded. Yes, boss. Henge. The boy performed the transformation jutsu and transformed into an ugly, fat woman. No, Naruto said, shaking his head. Wrong. Slimmer, more attractive. Yes, boss. The boy nodded fervently and continued practicing. After a few hours of intense training, where they perfected the boy's sexy jutsu, Naruto and the Hokage's grandson stopped to rest. By the way, Naruto began, taking a soda and observing the boy with a curious look. Why do you go against your grandpa so often like that? The Hokage's grandson remained silent, looking down seriously. After a few moments, he started. My grandpa gave me the name Konohamaru. He based it on the village's name, the boy revealed in a serious tone. But, even though it's an easy name to remember, no one calls me by it, he continued, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. When people see me, they only see the Hokage's grandson. Konohamaru frowned. No one sees me for who I really am. I'm tired of it, he declared with an annoyed look. That's why I want the title of Hokage right now. Naruto sighed almost in annoyance. Idiot. Who would recognize a brat like you? The Uzumaki replied in a disdainful tone. Ha! Konohamaru turned to look at Naruto. The title of Hokage isn't something a kid like you can easily get, Naruto pointed out calmly. What? Konohamaru clenched his fists and gave Naruto an annoyed look. It's not that easy. You keep saying Hokage, Hokage. If you really want to get the title of Hokage. Then what? Konohamaru interrupted with a voice full of anger. You'll have to defeat me first, Naruto replied with a fierce smile etched on his determined face. Konohamaru was left speechless, unable to say anything. The third Hokage climbed to the top of his mansion to look at the stone faces of the Hokage monument. His gaze was fixed specifically on the fourth Hokage, his successor, who died 12 years ago and forced the third to take up the mantle of Hokage once again. Third, I've been looking for you, a voice echoed from behind the Hokage. Irika? The Hokage asked, still staring at the stone face of the fourth. Did Naruto properly submit his ninja registration form? Irika questioned, approaching. Yes. The other day, I gave him a good lecture at the ramen stand, Irika commented with a smile. He's very determined to become a great shinobi and gain recognition from everyone in the village. The Hokage remained silent as the sigh of the wind made his cloak flutter. The third's gaze stayed fixed on a leaf that drifted freely in the breeze. It may be very difficult for Naruto to achieve his dream, the third revealed calmly. Irika looked attentively at the Hokage. As you know, the only ones who know that the demon fox is sealed inside Naruto are the adults who fought against that beast 12 years ago, the Hokage declared seriously. I decreed that no one should speak about it, and I have severely punished those who didn't follow the rule. Thanks to that, today's children don't know the truth. That is Naruto's only hope. The third narrowed his eyes with sadness, observing the stone face of the fourth Hokage. The fourth Hokage wanted Naruto to be seen as a hero. That was his last wish before dying while sealing the beast. A hero? Iruka raised his eyebrows, surprised. The fourth Hokage sealed the Kyuubi inside a newborn baby, whose umbilical cord had just been cut. Naruto became the container of the Kyuubi for the sake of the village. But the adults don't see it that way. The Hokage shook his head slightly, filled with great regret and frustration. Moreover, the adults' attitude of contempt towards Naruto is being passed on to the children who know nothing. Iruka, do you know? What? Iruka asked curiously. When a person hates and doesn't acknowledge another's existence, their eyes, when they look at that person, become terrifyingly cold. The Hokage responded with a tone tinged with sadness. I found you, a voice exclaimed from above. Naruto and Konohamaru turned to see a man with sunglasses. Ugh! The man showed a look of disgust when his gaze fell on Naruto. His eyes were filled with a terrifying coldness. Those eyes again, Naruto thought with a bored look. Why does everyone? He continued in his thoughts, narrowing his eyes. Now, young master, let's go home, the man declared, descending from the top of the tree and landing gracefully. No, I'm going to defeat Grandpa and get the title of Hokage right now. Don't get in my way, the boy shouted firmly. Still going on about that? Naruto murmured in a tired voice, frowning. A Hokage must be a master in all aspects of being a ninja, the man with sunglasses explained, advancing with a confident step. You must learn around 1,000 jutsus and then… Henge! Konohamaru interrupted him and transformed into a beautiful naked girl with brown hair and slender curves. Take this, sexy no jutsu, he declared with a charming smile. It didn't work, he continued, returning to his original form. What? The man with sunglasses stood still with blushing cheeks. What a vulgar technique, he exclaimed, scandalized. I am a gentleman. A technique like that will never work on me. He approached and pulled Konohamaru by his blue scarf. Young master, if you associate with people like that, you'll only become stupid. No! Konohamaru resisted, running in the opposite direction he was being pulled. Do as I say. I am the only shortcut to becoming Hokage, the man with sunglasses declared arrogantly. Kagebushin no jutsu. Naruto created several shadow clones. Wow, that's amazing. Konohamaru was amazed by the clones. Heh! The man with sunglasses sneered disdainfully. How inconvenient. I am an elite tutor, he commented with a confident smile. I am not Mizuki, he added as he prepared to fight. Henge! All of Naruto's clones performed the same jutsu, leaving the elite tutor confused. All the clones transformed into beautiful naked women with scarlet red hair. Everyone was surprised. Even the supposed elite tutor, who wouldn't fall for such a jutsu, was defeated when blood gushed from his nose like a faucet, and he fell to the ground unconscious. I call this harem no jutsu, Naruto declared with a smile, returning to his original form. Damn it! I couldn't even defeat my tutor, Konohamaru commented, frustrated. I want a name that people will know me by. It's not that easy, fool, Naruto said, giving the boy a knock on the head. The name of Hokage isn't just for the strongest ninja in the village. You're gonna have to suffer and face your fears and insecurities to find someone who accepts you. Naruto continued, remembering those lonely days when he saw children with their parents, how he trained hard these 3 years, how Iruka had recognized him. Even that can cost you a lot. You better be prepared, he continued, turning to give his back to Konohamaru. Be prepared for what? Konohamaru tilted his head. If you want an incredible name like Hokage, the Uzumaki said, walking away, one that everyone will recognize you by. Naruto stopped and remained silent. The only audible sound was the whisper of the trees as the wind sighed through them. There are no shortcuts, Naruto declared with a somewhat lonely smile. Konohamaru was stunned and couldn't help but admire Naruto for a second. After a few moments, he recovered. Bah! Stop lecturing me as if you were someone important, Konohamaru replied. I won't let you be my boss anymore, he added, then looked Naruto directly in the eyes. From now on, we are rivals. Konohamaru laughed excitedly, and Naruto gave him a smile. Sorry, but I start my ninja path tomorrow. But someday you'll challenge me and we'll fight. I'll be waiting, Konohamaru, Naruto said, then turned and made a farewell gesture to his new rival. Chapter 3. Team 7. Today was the day. After a week of rest, today was the day when the newly graduated genin would be assigned to their jonin as a teacher. The dawn was present on this eagerly awaited day. The sun rose over the horizon and bathed the entire village of Konohagakure with its warm yellow light, where most, if not the vast majority of genin, were just getting up to start preparing. There was an irregular genin, one who didn't pass the exam in the typical way but achieved the title in an unusual manner. This genin had been up for hours, not to prepare for the exciting day ahead, but to train. The rays of the sun entered through the window of this genin's apartment, and as the sun rose, they illuminated a part of the room. There, in a small corner, were three identical people, clones, sitting in the lotus position, meditating with their eyes closed, with a small violet aura enveloping their bodies like a cloak. On each clone's leg were small, beautiful crystals, the size of a kunai, shining with an ethereal and mystical light that matched the aura surrounding the clones. The crystals floated in the air and rotated on their own axis. Various colors were reflected on their polished surfaces, like a mirror. It was like a rainbow, with the colors shining vibrantly. They displayed until completely covering the entire surface of the crystal, and then slowly began to be dyed another color in a slow and beautiful harmony. However, the sunlight continued to rise and clear other areas of the genin's apartment, pushing back the shadows until another person was illuminated. A boy identical to the clones, except he was not sitting in the lotus position. No, he was in a push-up position with his body inclined downward and the weight on one arm. The other arm rested on his back, where he also carried additional weight. He wore no shirt, and his body was bathed in sweat, making his skin glow softly. His red, damp hair fell over his eyes, shadowing his gaze. He balanced on one finger while slowly lowering himself to the ground and then rising with the same slowness. His mouth opened each time he completed a cycle, murmuring something. 994, 995, 996. After about 996 push-ups, his body began to show signs of protest. The muscles in his arm visibly trembled with each movement, and drops of sweat fell from his forehead to the ground. His breathing was heavy and ragged, and each time he rose, a slight groan escaped his lips. Despite the evident pain, he continued with unwavering determination, his eyes fixed on an invisible point in front of him. Genius? No, that genin couldn't be called that, or at least no one had ever called him by that nickname. All the work he had achieved so far was through effort and the wisdom encapsulated in the crystals to which his clones were connected. Since he was a child, this boy had no one to support or guide him in the ninja arts. He had no family, and his clan was practically extinct. Most of the academy teachers hated him for something he didn't do, so they didn't teach him as well as the other children. Although that genin also had to admit that in the past, he wasn't the most diligent student either. But 3 years ago, things changed for that red-haired boy. The third Hokage gave him those crystals, and since then, his life turned around. However, to maintain appearances, he continued to seem like a mediocre and lazy ninja whose only activity was clowning around to attract attention. 997, 998, 999. Nonetheless, the act of appearing as a clown ended today. He would no longer pretend to be someone he wasn't. Long gone was the boy who sought attention by acting foolishly. From now on, his journey to the top began. His goal was to become Hokage, but that was just a side effect of his true purpose. Since he connected to the essence of those crystals for the first time and learned about his roots and clan, his true goal had become clear. The boy lowered himself to do the last push-up, but his arm wavered, and his whole body trembled, his muscles protesting. He was about to fall to the ground under the combined weight and muscle pain. But, clenching his teeth and with a fierce look, he managed to lower himself, his nose brushing the ground. Then, in a slow and forceful manner, he finished raising his body, groaning slightly. 1,000. The boy sighed, tired, and sat back on his knees. The crystals gave him wisdom, and through them he could improve many things, such as his taijutsu, kenjutsu techniques, or his chakra control. But his physical training had to be done in real life. The young man smiled, stood up, and stretched a bit. His body was somewhat numb after the extensive training. He had done leg exercises as soon as he got up several hours ago, followed by sit-ups and finally push-ups. But by the time he arrived at the academy, he would be fully recovered. One advantage his body had was its regeneration thanks to being the container of the QB. He fixed his gaze on the window to see that dawn had already broken. It was time to start getting ready. He walked towards the kitchen to drink some water, only to stop when he saw his reflection in a mirror. He couldn't help but widen his eyes in admiration of his body. He had never been very chubby or particularly thin, always a standard boy with a physical state that was neither bad nor good. His body was slender, but his muscles, both pectorals and abdominals, arms and legs, were well-defined and strong. The boy, Uzumaki Naruto, stroked his reflection in the mirror and then clenched his fist with an intrepid and excited smile. This would be the beginning of his journey. First, he would crush all the genin in his village, and then he would rise to become Hokage. Finally, he would achieve his goal of becoming the most powerful ninja in the world, proving to everyone that the Uzumaki were above the rest. Ino was excited. Today was the day she would be assigned to a ninja team. She arrived at the academy full of joy and anticipation. Last night she couldn't sleep out of excitement. She couldn't help but fantasize about being on the same team as Uchiha Sasuke. Just imagining it made her stomach fill with butterflies, thinking about how beautiful their story together would be. The Yamanaka felt her cheeks flush again. "Ino, are you okay?" Choji asked, concerned. "Huh? I'm perfectly fine," Ino responded quickly. Shikamaru, sitting on her other side, murmured something about her being troublesome. Ino ignored him. Choji, Shikamaru, and she had known each other since they were small. Their clans were allies and their parents were great friends. They had even been part of the same ninja team when they were genin, so it could be said they were like childhood friends. However, Ino was worried that her father and those of Shikamaru and Choji would pull strings for them to end up together, just like their parents did before them. No, she refused to be on a team with Choji and Shikamaru. She wanted to be with Sasuke. Suddenly, the classroom door opened, snapping Ino out of her thoughts. She looked up at the door to see if Irika-sensei had finally arrived. No, it wasn't Irika entering. It was a young man a little taller than Sasuke, as handsome as the Uchiha, with a beautiful face of smooth and elegant features, a creamy smooth skin and a beautiful, neat, flaming and shiny crimson hair, beautiful sapphire blue eyes tinged with a hint of violet, with a beauty mark under the left eye. He wore a loose red uniform jacket with sleeves that stopped at his wrists and the symbol that all jonin wore on the back of their vest. He also wore slim black jeans tucked into matching black sneakers. Ino watched him for several seconds. She blinked several times, unable to believe that such a handsome boy had been in her class all this time, and she hadn't noticed his existence. "Naruto," Choji greeted him with a wave and a big smile. "What? Impossible. That boy couldn't be Naruto, right?" Naruto's hair was dull, greasy, and unkempt. His skin was greasy and dry. He was smaller than Sasuke, and his eyes were a dark blue. His face was plain, with nothing notable about it. Additionally, he wore a dirty orange and blue tracksuit. But the proof was there, in those adorable whisker marks on both cheeks. Everyone seemed equally surprised as she was because the noise that reigned in the classroom had silenced, and everyone watched the door with perplexed expressions. "Naruto," Ino questioned, not believing what she was seeing. "What are you doing here? Only those who pass the test are supposed to enter here. Don't you see what's on my forehead?" Naruto gestured to the forehead protector, partially covered by strands of hair. There was a secret test to become a genin, and I passed it. He shrugged as if it wasn't surprising, despite Ino never having heard of such a test. But if you doubt my words, you can report me to Irika-sensei, he added with a sly smile, then headed towards a seat. So, he finally decided to undo the henge no jutsu. That means things are going to get more troublesome from now on, Shikamaru whispered with a complex expression. Henge no jutsu? What are you talking about? Ino murmured to Shikamaru. The Naruto you've been seeing all this time was an illusion of his henge no jutsu, Shikamaru said with a bored expression. I figured it out months ago. Then, Naruto gave me permission to tell Choji. Why didn't you tell me? Because I had no obligation to do so, and Naruto asked me not to tell anyone besides Choji. Shikamaru stifled a yawn with his hand. Besides, if you had paid attention, you probably would have figured it out like I did. But since you only pay attention to Sasuke. But, Ino tried to protest. Naruto, move your butt. I want to sit on the other side, exclaimed a beautiful girl with pink hair and green eyes. Naruto, with his legs on the table and arms crossed over his chest, eyes closed, opened one eye, glanced at the girl and closed it again. Then he looked to his other side. Uchiha Sasuke was sitting there, with his pale skin, black hair, and serious eyes, along with a stern expression. Naruto closed his eye again and ignored the girl's request. Seeing that, the girl's complexion turned red, her expression distorted, and veins bulged on her forehead. Her hands clenched into fists. Hey loser, how dare you? Naruto stood up and faced the girl with a defiant expression. Those beautiful sapphire blue eyes tinged with a hint of violet were cold and apathetic. The girl's face shifted from anger to surprise in an instant. She took a step back, stumbled, and fell to the ground, looking at Naruto with her mouth open. Naruto crouched down, his gaze fixed and firm on the girl. Sakura Haruno, the days of belittling and ordering me around as if you were the queen of everything are over. I will no longer bow my head and laugh as if everything were a game. Understood? Naruto smiled slyly, a smile that promised trouble. If you want to sit next to your beloved Sasuke, you will have to ask politely and with manners. If your parents weren't able to teach you that, then it's better you sit somewhere else. Sakura nodded, and Naruto returned to his seat. Sakura stood up and approached Naruto with a calmer and less authoritative look. Naruto, can you please let me sit next to Sasuke? Apologize first, Naruto ordered without bothering to look at her. Ha! A vein bulged on Sakura's forehead. Apologize for how you spoke to me, can't you? Naruto smiled playfully. Sakura opened her mouth to complain, but those words died in her throat when Naruto glared at her with a cold and authoritative look. The Haruno lowered her gaze, almost intimidated. Sorry, Naruto. Could you let me sit, please? Naruto stood up and stepped aside for Sakura to pass. Go ahead, the Uzumaki said with a servile smile. Sakura nodded, still a bit nervous, and sat next to Sasuke. Once she sat down, Naruto returned to his seat in a relaxed position. Ino smiled with interest. Perhaps this new Naruto wasn't so bad after all. Starting today, you are all ninjas, but you are still new genin. From now on, it will only get more difficult, Irika announced with his hands crossed behind his back. You will all be divided into groups of 3, where you will complete missions under the supervision of a Jonin instructor. I wonder who will be in Sasuke-kun's group, Ino commented, sitting behind Sakura. I don't know. Sakura frowned at Yamanaka. Damn, of course, I'm going to be in his group, Sakura thought, determined. Group of 3? That means they'll get in my way, Sasuke thought, clicking his tongue in annoyance. One of my teammates is Sasuke, that's for sure. I don't know who the other one will be, but I'm not interested, Naruto reflected with an entertained smile. We have formed the groups in such a way that everyone has equivalent skills, Irika declared, raising the chart with all the teams. Now I will announce the groups. Irika began naming the teams one by one, their 3 members, their Jonin sensei, and addressing any doubts, questions, or complaints the students might have. Next, Team 7, Irika began. Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Oh my god. Yes. Sakura stood up with a big smile and raised her arms in victory. Naruto began to laugh softly, covering his face with one of his hands. What's wrong, Naruto? Sakura asked, puzzled. Nothing. I'm just burning with excitement. Naruto smiled fiercely. Bah! Just don't get in my way or I'll kill you, Sasuke replied coldly. The Uzumaki looked at the Uchiha with an intense gaze. Sakura, who was between them, feared they would start fighting. But Naruto closed his eyes and displayed a feline smile. We'll see, Sasuke. We'll see. So, I'm in a different group from Naruto-kun, thought a girl with dark blue hair and white eyes, watching the Uzumaki. Next, Team 8, Hyuga Hinata. Why yes, the girl with white eyes spoke. Inuzuka Kiba. The Inuzuka smiled savagely. Aburame Shino. Shino said nothing, merely adjusting his glasses. Sakura turned and made a victory gesture at Ino Yamanaka. Ino's jaw tensed, and a vein bulged on her forehead. How did you get to be with him? Ino asked in an annoyed tone. Next, Team 9. Oblivious to his former students' conversations, Irika continued. I love getting my way. Sakura celebrated internally. Why do girls like a guy like him? Shikamaru asked Ino curiously. Don't you know yet, Shikamaru? Ino turned to look at him. I'm not a girl. Ino sighed. That's why you're not popular. Ino spoke with a disdainful expression. I wouldn't want to have someone like you in my group. Team 10. Yamanaka Ino. Nara Shikamaru. Looks like you'll have to put up with me, Shikamaru teased with a smile. Ino gave him a sideways glance, growling slightly. And Akimichi Chuji. And a fatty? Ino put her hands on her head with a defeated expression. Choji growled, as if sensing someone was calling him fat. Those are the groups. I will introduce the Jonin instructors in the afternoon. The meeting is adjourned until then, Irika announced with his hands on his hips. Yo, Sasuke! Naruto greeted the Uchiha with a carefree smile, approaching him. What do you want, Dobe? The Uchiha asked with a frown. Why so aggressive? Naruto raised an eyebrow, amused. Now we're teammates, you know? I just came here to talk to you. Being teammates doesn't mean we have to get along. Correct. Finally, I agree with you on something. Naruto let out a small laugh, then stopped beside the Uchiha. Do you know why I finished last in the academy exams? Because you're a failed ninja? Because I knew the ninja with the worst grades would end up in the same team as the best ninja in the class. You get what I'm saying? You wanted to end up with me. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Yes. Naruto snapped his fingers with a playful smile. Do you know why? I'm not interested. Because you're just like me. You have no one like me, but the village adores you while they hate me. Naruto's smile turned sour, almost resentful. That's why I decided I wanted to crush you, because you're the only person I see as my equal. Don't be presumptuous. You're just a failure. Naruto let out a laugh and gave Sasuke a disdainful look. We'll see about that, Sasuke, he continued with a mysterious smile. Now I've said what I needed to say. Work hard, so crushing you will be more satisfying for me. Sasuke narrowed his eyes and glared at him. Naruto just smiled nonchalantly, turned on his heels, and walked away with a wave of his hand. Everyone returned in the afternoon after lunch. Each team was picked up by their assigned Jonin until only Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were left. He's late. Naruto opened the classroom door and looked up and down the hallway to realize no one was coming. Naruto, why don't you go back to your seat? Sakura requested. Why is the teacher for our group the only one who's late? Naruto asked, frowning. He was losing valuable time he could use for training. All the other groups have already left with their new teacher somewhere, and Irika-sensei has already gone home. Naruto crossed his arms with a dissatisfied expression, then flashed a malicious smile. That's not very important. Haruno dismissed calmly. A dull, heavy sound echoed, catching their attention. The girl opened her eyes and fixed her gaze to realize that Naruto was moving a table to climb on it. "Hey, what are you doing, Naruto?" Sakura asked, alarmed, seeing how Naruto climbed onto a table and placed an eraser at the entrance so that when the door opened, it would fall on the person. "That's what you get for being late," Naruto declared, jumping off the table. "Arg, it's your own fault if you get in trouble," Sakura warned seriously. "I love this kind of stuff." Inner Sakura was beaming with excitement. Yeah. Naruto made a dismissive and calming gesture with his hand. Sasuke snorted. "A jonin won't fall for an old, stupid prank like that." "Yeah, Naruto, you're very stupid," Sakura agreed with a slight nod. The door opened, and the eraser fell on the jonin's head. Naruto exploded in laughter. "Sorry, sensei. I tried to stop him, but Naruto-kun wouldn't listen to me." Sakura excused herself, but inside she was happy because it turned out better than she thought. "Is he really a jonin? He doesn't look very strong," Sasuke thought, frowning. The jonin bent down and picked up the eraser with a calm expression, humming slightly with a thoughtful look. "How should I say this? My first impression of you guys is—" The jonin stroked his chin. Half of his face was covered by a mask that reached up to his nose. "I hate you." The jonin took them to a building rooftop to get to know each other. He sat on a railing. Naruto and company sat on some steps. Naruto on the right, Sasuke in the middle, and Sakura on the left. "Let's see, why don't you introduce yourselves?" the jonin said. "Introduce ourselves? What should we say?" Sakura asked in confusion. "What you like, what you don't like, your dreams and hobbies," the jonin explained, extending his arms a bit. "Something like that." "Hey, why don't you introduce yourself first, sensei?" Naruto questioned. "Me?" The jonin pointed to himself. "I'm Hatake Kakashi," he introduced himself. He was a tall man in his late 20s, with an impassive face and a half-asleep appearance. "I have no intention of telling you my likes and dislikes," he continued with a relaxed and calm voice. "And about my dream," he left the words hanging for seconds as if thinking about it. "I have few hobbies," he continued. He had spiky silver hair. On his forehead, he wore the Konoha protector covering his left eye. "So, the only thing we've learned is his name," Sakura murmured to her companions. Naruto nodded in agreement. "Now it's your turn," Kakashi announced, crossing his arms. He fixed his gaze on Naruto. "You first." "I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I used to like ramen a lot, but my teachers said it wasn't very healthy, so I don't eat it much anymore. Do I hate something? I really don't know. I haven't really reflected on it, though I guess I dislike the people of this village. Let's say we don't have the best relationship. My hobby is playing pranks, I suppose. Life is meant to be fun, right? And my dream? I'm not going to tell you because I don't feel like it, and it's not a dream. It's something that's going to happen. But I can say that becoming the greatest Hokage is a side effect." "He has grown in an interesting way," Kakashi thought, narrowing his visible eye a bit. "All right, next." Kakashi fixed his gaze on the girl. "I'm Haruno Sakura." The girl introduced herself cheerfully. The person I like is—" She glanced at Sasuke. "And my hobby is— my dream is—" She let out a squeal, her cheeks flushing red. "And? What do you hate?" the jonin inquired. "Naruto," Sakura declared with a disgusted voice. Naruto let out a derisive snort and made a dismissive gesture with his hand. "Girls her age seem more interested in love than in ninja training," Kakashi murmured softly. "The last one. My name is Uchiha Sasuke." Sasuke began with a serious look and his hands clasped at nose height. "There are many things I hate, and not many things I like. Also, I have an ambition that I have no intention of leaving as a dream," he continued, and his black eyes gained an incredible sharpness. "The resurgence of my clan and— to kill a certain person." "Interesting," Naruto thought, smiling slyly. "Sasuke is so cool," Sakura thought. admiring the black-haired boy with an absorbed expression. Just as I thought, Kakashi frowned. All right, you three have very different personalities. I like it, Hatake admitted. Tomorrow we will start a mission. What kind of mission? Naruto raised one of his eyebrows curiously. First, we will do something that the four of us can do. Survival training. Why are we going to train when it's supposed to be a mission? Sakura asked, annoyed. We already had enough training at the academy. This is not regular training, the Jonin pointed out seriously. Then what kind of training is it? Naruto questioned, frowning. Kakashi let out a small laugh, as if the simple question amused him. Hey, what's so funny, sensei? Sakura spoke, confused. Well, if I say this, I'm sure you three will be surprised, Kakashi commented, making a calming gesture with his hand. Huh. Of the 27 graduates, only 9 will become genin, Kakashi confessed with a serious look. The other 18 will be sent back to the academy. In other words, this training will be a very tough test, with a failure rate of 66%. The young ones showed surprised expressions. See, you three are surprised. What was the point of the final exam then? Naruto questioned in a severe voice. Oh, that was just to select those who had the possibility of becoming genin, Kakashi said with an indifferent tone. Anyway, I will decide if you pass or fail tomorrow in the training field. Bring your ninja gear and meet at 5 a.m. So, this is what Iruka-sensei meant when he said the hard part would start now? Naruto thought, leaning back with a reflective look. I can trust Sasuke to keep up, maybe even match me, but Sakura. That silly girl is more interested in looking pretty in front of the Uchiha than in being a ninja. Uzumaki frowned. In the worst-case scenario, Sasuke and I can team up. Naruto opened his eyes and shook his head. What am I thinking? I don't need Sasuke's help. My goal is to crush him and show the village how superior I am. I will pass this test through my own power. Naruto concluded his thoughts with a confident smile. If I fail this test, I'll be separated from Sasuke-kun. It's a test of love. Sakura meditated, trembling. Then, meeting adjourned, Kakashi turned and made a farewell gesture with his hand. Oh, by the way, don't eat breakfast. You'll regret it if you do, he added, giving his students a final stern look before disappearing. Normally, before obtaining the Kagebushin no Jutsu and when he still had classes at the academy, Naruto would wake up 3 hours before class started and train for an hour with each of the crystals. Then he would go to class and clown around or act lazy, not paying attention to anything Iruka or the teacher of the moment was saying. Afterward, when he left at 3 in the afternoon, he began a rigorous physical training that lasted 3 hours. He would arrive home at 6 in the evening, where, after eating, he would spend the last 3 hours of the day with the crystals, 1 hour for each. On weekends, since he didn't have class, it was very different. Saturdays were pure physical training, refining his kenjutsu and taijutsu techniques. Sundays were pure training within the crystals. The whole day inside them except when he had to go to the bathroom or eat. Inside the crystals, 1 hour of the normal world equaled 12 inside them. That was Naruto's training plan for 3 whole years. But now it was different. Now that he had the Kagebushin no Jutsu, he could leave his clones connected to the crystals all the time. He, on the other hand, would train his body physically to keep up with the techniques his clones learned. Even so, Naruto didn't know if he would be able to defeat Kakashi. It was true that those who trained him inside the crystals were Jonin recognized as heirs of great figures from Uzumaki. But Naruto was still a newly graduated genin. It might be that his skills were far above all his peers, maybe at the level of a chunin but a jonin? He doubted it. The level of his kenjutsu and taijutsu techniques was almost reaching expert level, while his chakra control was really good for his age, level, and amount. He could do things he was sure his peers still couldn't achieve. His masters nicknamed him Genius, but Naruto attributed it to the fact that time inside the crystals advanced faster. That only made the fight more interesting, and Naruto could feel his heart pounding with the excitement of a combat that would entertain him. Thanks to the Kagebushin no Jutsu, Naruto could use the hours of the night he normally spent training with the crystals to practice with his new sword. With that plan in mind, Naruto headed to one of the training grounds, specifically to a place not far from them, which, as far as Uzumaki knew, no one else knew about. It was a peaceful spot with a waterfall and a small lake surrounded by green and pleasant trees that made it a perfect place. Breathing deeply, Naruto felt how the sounds of nature intertwined into a unique and harmonious melody. The powerful waterfall provided a constant rhythmic background. Its roar was like the heartbeat of the earth. Over this rhythm, the murmur of the small stream added a soft and melodious tune as it flowed serenely. Finally, the gentle sigh of the wind caressed his ears like a light breeze carrying the essence of peace. Naruto advanced and moved a bush aside to see the place clearly. Fixing his gaze on the waterfall, his eyes widened. The full moon illuminated the area, creating an immense shadow for the woman bathing in the lake. The Uzumaki was captivated for a moment, unable to take his eyes off the beautiful woman. The long, wet, jet-black hair flowed down to the upper part of the woman's back. Her clear and glowing skin, with drops of water sliding down her beautiful face and descending to her full breasts. Slim waist with long, sensual legs. After a few moments of observing her, Naruto recognized her as one of the Jonin who had taken one of the groups that day. Kurenai Yuhi, right? Naruto swallowed, surprised, blinking several times until he returned to himself. He shook his head and hid behind a bush. He sat in the lotus position with the katana on his legs. What the hell was she doing here? How had she found it? This place was supposed to be known only by him. The Uzumaki could feel his restless breathing, his heart pounding violently, and his face flushing. He had been captivated by the extreme beauty bathing behind him. The image of the sensual and slender body of the naked woman kept appearing in his head. He felt the rare need to turn around and continue enjoying the woman's beauty. But he shook his head. That was wrong. Naruto took a deep breath, held it for a few seconds, and exhaled deeply. He repeated the process several times until he felt his heartbeat and breathing calm down. Then he remained focused in his mind, preventing the images of the woman from disturbing his tranquility. He concentrated on mental training, practicing against imaginary opponents within his head. Several minutes passed until a voice interrupted Naruto's mental training. I didn't know I had an audience. Kurenai's voice had a melodious and beautiful tone that caressed the air and Naruto's ears. It wasn't my intention, Naruto replied with his eyes closed. No one was supposed to know about this place. I see. The splashing of water echoed, along with a softer, bubbling sound, followed by a constant dripping accompanied by the light crunching caused by each step Kurenai took. Boys your age would be eager to keep watching a naked woman. Naruto didn't need to see her to know she was smiling. I'm not like other boys, thought the redhead. Technically, he was older than he appeared. Calculating all the time that had passed since he obtained the crystals, it could be said that Naruto had trained for almost 10 years. 3 years inside each crystal. So his mental age would be around 23 years. Do you like men? I like women, Naruto exclaimed quickly. It's just that. I think it's rude to see a naked woman without her permission. Then, Kurenai's voice had a playful and coquettish tone. If I give you permission to open your eyes. What the hell are you saying? Uzumaki asked nervously, feeling the heat rise to his cheeks. Aren't you supposed to keep your nudity for the man you like? Are you Uzumaki Naruto, right? The soft, crunchy whisper of the grass echoed with each step Kurenai took, approaching Naruto. Your face is different from the record. Yes. Naruto opened his eyes towards Kurenai's direction. She was leaning forward staring. She had beautiful ruby red eyes. Naruto's face turned tomato red as he saw how close she was to him. He could feel her breath caressing his pores. But what made him finish blushing was when he looked down at her bare breasts. Her nipples were a light pink. Why are you still naked? Naruto shouted, averting his gaze and closing his eyes. I'm sorry, I forgot. Kurenai let out a small honey-sweet laugh. Besides, you're cute when you're embarrassed. A friend of mine would have mugged you by now. What makes you think I couldn't do the same to you? You're not a bad boy. As soon as you noticed I was taking a bath, you decided to look away and not spy on me, when any other man would have done it, Kurenai stated confidently. But well, now that I know you're Uzumaki Naruto, I have something to ask you. I'll listen to you, but first put on some clothes. All right, give me a few minutes. For Naruto, it felt like an eternity until Kurenai spoke to him. You can open your eyes now. Are you sure? Naruto doubted. I'm already dressed, Naruto-kun. Kurenai's amused voice echoed softly. The Uzumaki slowly opened one of his eyes. Beside him stood Kurenai, dressed in a red mesh armor blouse with only the right sleeve visible. Overall, it was a very loose material resembling bandages with a pattern similar to rose thorns. Her hands and the upper part of her thighs were also wrapped in bandages, and she wore the Konoha forehead protector and regular shinobi sandals. Naruto exhaled a sigh of relief, his shoulders relaxing. So, what do you want? The redhead inquired, getting straight to the point. First tell me, what are you doing here? Kurenai asked curiously. I came to train. This place is peaceful, and I thought no one knew about it until recently. Kurenai hummed softly, fixing her gaze on Naruto's katana. I didn't know you used a sword. No one knows. It's something I've always practiced in secret. Not even the third knows about my sword skills. I see. Kurenai nodded with slight understanding. Your teacher is Kakashi, right? That's right. Naruto nodded. I see. I wish you luck. No one has ever passed Kakashi's test. Kurenai offered a compassionate smile. Then I'll be the first. The Uzumaki's words brimmed with great determination and confidence. But tell me, what can you say about Kakashi? He is one of the strongest jonin in the village. He is a genius who graduated from the academy at 5 years old and became a chunin at 6. At your age, he was already becoming a jonin. One of the best prodigies the village has produced. Are we talking about the same Kakashi? Naruto frowned, confused. Kurenai laughed softly. I understand what you mean. How can that carefree and indifferent person, with a half-asleep appearance, minimalist and apathetic attitude, be so strong? Appearances are deceiving, Naruto-kun. Remember that the best tool of a ninja is deception. Any advice against Kakashi? The Uzumaki questioned, interested. I'm not sure if I should tell you this, but it would be better if you think as a team. It's impossible for you alone to defeat Kakashi. Even Sasuke, who is the best of your generation, has no chance against Kakashi. However, if you join forces, you might have a slim chance. Naruto grimaced. Sasuke considers us a hindrance, so I doubt there's a chance of forming an alliance, he muttered. Not to mention I threatened him. Sakura, on the other hand, is more interested in Sasuke and his well-being than in being a kunoichi. In that case, maybe you should try cornering Kakashi. If you can make him use his other eye, maybe he will recognize you, Kurenai advised with a thoughtful expression. By the way, didn't you tell me why your face looks different from the record? I was using a henge no jutsu. And the third allowed it? Kurenai blinked, surprised. I guess he didn't say anything. The Uzumaki shrugged, disinterested. Now, what do you want from me? Kurenai let out a sensual and mysterious laugh. For that, you'll have to come to my house tomorrow night, without eating if you can. You know how suspicious that sounds, right? You'll have to find out tomorrow. Kurenai stood up with an amused smile. Wait for me at the village gates tomorrow afternoon. On one condition, don't tell anyone about this place, Naruto requested with a serious look. You want it to be our private place? Yui blinked, then smiled. Our private place where we can meet without anyone bothering us. Sounds romantic. She winked coquettishly at Naruto. See you. She said goodbye and left. What an annoying woman, Naruto murmured, blushing. He sighed, stood up from the ground, and leaped to land on a rock in the middle of the lake. He drew his sword and got into a guard position. He knew teaming up with Sasuke and Sakura was impossible. Only one path remained, to pass through strength. Chapter 4. The Test. Good morning, partners, Kakashi greeted calmly. You're late, Naruto and Sakura accused in unison with an annoyed shout. A black cat crossed my path, so? Kakashi excused himself, but the piercing glare his students were giving him made him stop. He coughed slightly. "Let's start," he continued in a slightly more serious tone. He took a few steps and placed an alarm clock on a log. Alarm set for 12 p.m. The three genin watched curiously as Kakashi pulled out 2 bells from one of his bags. "Today's goal is to take one of these bells from me," Kakashi said, making them jingle. "Whoever can't will not have lunch," he warned severely. "I'll tie you up there and eat lunch in front of you." He pointed to one of the 3 logs. "Wait, why are there only 2 bells?" Sakura asked, confused. Kakashi smiled beneath his mask. "If there are only 2, at least one of you will have to stay tied to the log. That person will fail since they couldn't complete their mission." He shook the bells. "That person will go back to the academy. It could be just one of you or all 3. There was no trace of smiles on the faces of the 3 kids. Only the stillness of a winter lake was reflected. "You can use your shuriken. You won't be able to take this unless you intend to kill me." "But this is too dangerous, sensei," Sakura complained with a worried tone. "Yeah, you couldn't even dodge that eraser," Naruto commented, laughing. "In society, those without many qualities tend to complain more," the Jonin replied. "Just ignore the boy with the lowest score." Naruto's laughter stopped abruptly, and his smile faded like mist. His eyebrows furrowed and his upper lip trembled a bit. "We'll start after I say ready, go." Naruto gritted his teeth and, without waiting, pulled a kunai from his bag, preparing to throw it. However, when he raised his hand and was ready to release it, everything happened in an instant. Kakashi vanished and someone grabbed Naruto's hand tightly, pointing the kunai towards his neck. Sakura gasped, and Sasuke showed an expression of astonishment. Naruto remained frozen, looking over his shoulder at how Kakashi could end him at any moment. "Don't be so hasty," Kakashi said softly. "I haven't said ready yet." Sasuke and Sakura took a few steps back. Kakashi released Naruto and pushed him forward. "But it seems you had the intention to kill me now," Kakashi spoke with slight approval in his tone. He let out a small laugh. "It seems that, in the end, you 3 are going to start to like me. Let's begin. Ready? Go." "What do you want to know?" the third asked Irika. "I'm sure you haven't come just to have tea with me." "What kind of teacher is the Jonin of Naruto and Group 7? Irika asked curiously. "Is he a strict person? Are you talking about Kakashi? Are you worried? I've heard some not-so-good rumors about him." Hiruzen took out a book and placed it on the table. Irika looked at the book for a moment, then fixed his gaze on the third Hokage. "What is that?" "It's the list of genins who have passed and failed under Kakashi's supervision," Hiruzen revealed with a serious look. "I'll take a look." Irika took the book and opened it. He gasped in surprise and frowned. He brought the book closer to his face to make sure what he was reading was true. "This is... no way. This is harder than the rumors say," Irika exclaimed. "Kakashi's tests might be a bit tougher," Hiruzen nodded. "But, if no one has passed them," Irika looked up to observe the third. "That's right. Kakashi has never passed anyone. They all failed. The basics for a ninja are to hide their presence and conceal themselves," Kakashi reflected, scratching his neck. He looked around. He couldn't see or perceive any of his students. "Well, everyone is very well hidden," Kakashi murmured. He looked up and realized he had spoken too soon. "Let's have a fair and direct duel," Naruto exclaimed, standing a few meters in front of Kakashi. Kakashi tilted his head with a confused expression. Was this kid an idiot? No, he probably was. "Hey, aren't you a bit strange compared to the others?" "What's strange is your haircut," Naruto replied, then lunged at Kakashi. Kakashi watched him with an apathetic expression and brought his left hand to his back pouch. Naruto's eyes widened. He stopped dead in his tracks and proceeded to raise his guard. "Ninja tactic number 1 you need to know. Taijutsu. I'll teach you that first," Kakashi said calmly. Naruto frowned with a worried expression. The Jonin finished pulling something out of his pouch to reveal a book. Naruto's expression shifted from worry to confused surprise. What's the problem? Come closer and attack me. But, why did you take out a book? Naruto asked, puzzled. Why? I'm curious about how the story will continue, Kakashi replied, flipping through the pages of the book. Don't worry about this. It would be the same if I weren't reading. I'm going to crush you. Naruto clenched his fists with an angry face and attacked Kakashi. Uzumaki threw a punch at his master's face, who stopped it easily without looking. Damn! Flying kick! Naruto continued, launching a high kick. Kakashi ducked to dodge it. Ah, damn you! He went on, throwing a punch that hit the air. Hatake had disappeared. Huh! Naruto blinked in bewilderment. A ninja should never turn their back to the enemy multiple times. Idiot! Kakashi's voice boomed from behind Naruto, his hands forming the tiger seal, a symbol often used for fire element jutsus. Naruto, run! You're going to die! Sakura exclaimed from somewhere, her tone overflowing with worry. Huh! Naruto didn't seem to understand the danger he was in. Too late, Kakashi said. Naruto turned to see him. Secret master move of the lost village of Konoha. Naruto's expression went from panic to an uncomfortable grimace as Kakashi jabbed his fingers into the Uzumaki's backside. 1,000 years of pain. Naruto shot forward, letting out a howl of pain and clutching his rear. The Uzumaki flew until he landed in the large river. Let's see. Kakashi opened his book to continue reading. A few seconds passed until 2 shurikens suddenly appeared from the water, but Kakashi easily caught them, fitting them onto 2 fingers like rings. Shortly after, Naruto emerged from the water, coughing a bit. What's wrong? You won't eat anything if you don't get a bell before noon, Kakashi said amusedly. I know that. Naruto panted heavily. You said you wanted to surpass the Hokages, but your actions say otherwise. A rumble emanated from Naruto's stomach. Damn it! Damn it! I can keep fighting, even if I'm hungry, the Uzumaki declared with a grimace. Kakashi turned on his heels and took a few steps away, giving his back to Naruto. I let my guard down when you attacked me, Naruto excused, raising his arms bitterly. Damn it! I'm so hungry and my powers. Why do I have to do this instead of him? But I have to get a bell no matter what. Can't fail. I can't fail in a place like this, he continued with a determined look. Several shadows began to appear in the river. I will become a ninja. From the shadows that appeared in the river, about 7 Naruto clones emerged. Your confidence is your worst enemy, declared one of the clones. This is my best technique, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. They aren't just Bunshin but Kage Bunshin, an art of multiplying your body and not just as illusions. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. This is the forbidden jutsu he used to defeat Mizuki, thought the Jonin. Considering his abilities, he can only use it for a minute, Kakashi deduced seriously. Even if he's a loudmouth, Naruto is still Naruto. He won't catch me with that technique. Kakashi felt a weight on his back that made it difficult to move. The bells jingled. What? From behind too. Hatake spoke, surprised, seeing a Naruto clone holding him from behind. The clone chuckled slightly. A ninja shouldn't turn their back to the enemy, right, Kakashi-sensei? The clone remarked from behind Kakashi. Kakashi tried to step back. Even with Naruto's weight on his back, he should still be able to move. But 2 Naruto clones lunged at his legs, holding them to prevent him from moving. The original Naruto used 2 of his copies to propel himself upward. I sent a Kage Bunshin out of the water to position itself behind you, Naruto explained, preparing his fist to strike the Jonin. I'm gonna pay you back for that attack on my butt. You'll regret it. However, when Naruto's punch collided, it wasn't with Kakashi's face but with one of his clones. Ha! Naruto watched, confused, at all of this. Ouch! The clone that took the punch complained, falling to the ground. You must be Kakashi-sensei. You've transformed, right? The original Naruto pointed an accusatory finger at the clone he hit. You're him. You have to be him. You smell like Kakashi-sensei. Smells like an adult. All the clones started fighting amongst themselves. "Hey, you know, why don't you reverse the jutsu?" proposed one of the clones with a swollen cheek and a black eye. "And there'll be only two left." "You should have said that earlier, idiot." "I'm you, moron." Naruto dispelled the clones, leaving just him, bruised after receiving punches from his own copies. A small tear ran down his face as he realized he had been humiliated and tricked by his teacher. That was a Kawarimi no Jutsu. "Idiot," thought Sasuke, frowning and looking at Naruto with disdain. The Kawarimi no Jutsu was normally used to quickly replace a person's body with an animal or plant. This usually confused the opponent and created an opportunity to attack. Kakashi swapped his body with one of Naruto's clones. Not only did he deceive him, but he also made him hit himself, Uchiha reflected seriously. Sasuke returned his attention to Naruto to see him approaching a nearby tree. "A bell." Naruto smiled victoriously. He must have been in a hurry and dropped it. He ran towards the bell to grab it, but his foot triggered a trap mechanism, leaving him hanging from the tree, held up by a rope from his feet. "What the hell?" "A trap?" "Obviously." Sasuke narrowed his eyes. That Jonin doesn't seem to have any weaknesses despite fighting Naruto. Naruto had told Sasuke that he had purposely finished last to be on the same team as him. He had the audacity to declare that he was going to crush him, but in Sasuke's eyes, he was still the same loser. It seemed his words were just boasts to try to get attention, as always. "The bell." Naruto constantly stretched to try to grab the bell that was just centimeters away. Kakashi appeared and picked up the bell right in front of Naruto's face. "Use your techniques after thinking them through carefully. That's why it was used against you," Kakashi said. Naruto let out a furious growl. "And don't fall for such an obvious trap, idiot," the Jonin continued, his single eye smiling. Naruto swayed from side to side, his face distorted with rage. His face was as red as his hair. "A shinobi must be able to foresee events before they happen," Kakashi pointed out calmly. "I know all that crap," Naruto shouted, waving his arms. He threw punches into the air towards where Kakashi was, in an attempt to hit him by luck. I'm telling you because you don't know." Kakashi turned completely towards Naruto. "Your movements are driven by unnecessary emotions." Sasuke's eyes widened. His expression shifted from surprise to intense focus. He reached into his ninja pouch and pulled out several shuriken and kunai. "He's finally let his guard down," thought Sasuke with a small smile. A sharp whistle echoed as the shuriken and kunai Sasuke threw sliced through the air quickly. And also, Kakashi was smiling when all the kunai and shuriken lodged into his face, neck, and shoulder. Blood spurted violently. "Ah, what the? Sasuke, you bastard. You've gone too far," Naruto declared in a frightened tone. Kakashi's body lost balance and a cloud of smoke appeared suddenly. The Jonin's body was replaced with a wooden log. Both Sasuke and Naruto gasped in surprise. "Damn, did he use another substitution?" Sasuke thought urgently, leaping among the tree branches to hide from another location. "He must have determined my position thanks to that shuriken attack." Uchiha clenched his jaw. "He let his guard down on purpose. I fell into his trap." "There he is," Kakashi murmured, hidden among some bushes. His one visible eye had a serious look that clearly followed Sasuke's movements. He brought one of his hands to his tool pouch. Sakura also ran to reposition herself. But more than to hide in a favorable area, she did it to try to help one of her comrades. "Where is Sasuke-kun? Has Sensei caught him already?" Thinking about the possibility that Sasuke had fallen, her being filled with fear, but she quickly shook her head. "No, that can't happen to Sasuke-kun." Something sounded in front of her. Her eyes widened. It was her sensei calmly reading his book. Sakura hid behind some bushes to observe him and look for any weakness she could exploit. "I'm safe. He hasn't noticed my presence." "Sakura, behind you." "Huh, that voice? No, impossible." He was in front of her reading a book. But when she turned abruptly, she saw it was no illusion. Kakashi Hatake was behind her. Do ninjas have to think beyond the norm? Naruto repeated with a mocking smile. He was still upside down with his feet caught in the trap. If only he knew he's the one under my trap. Naruto pulled out a kunai and cut the rope, flipping in the air and landing on his feet. He smiled, but the joy only lasted a moment when one of his feet fell into another trap, lifting him up again. Damn! The same trap under the previous one. Kakashi made a hand seal and a whirlwind of leaves surrounded Haruno, who had a dazed look. After a few seconds, Sakura blinked in confusion. What was that? And where did Sensei go? Sakura was sure she had been facing him just moments ago, but now she was alone in the training field. Haruno turned her head from side to side, looking for her teacher, but saw no trace of the Jonin. What's happening? Why? She brought her hands to her pink hair. She didn't understand what was going on. Sakura, a weak voice called her. She recognized that voice. She turned with a big smile, but her joy vanished in an instant. Sasuke-kun? Her eyes widened in horror. Sasuke lay on the ground, bathed in his own blood, with kunai and shuriken wounds from which blood flowed like an open faucet. He was missing an arm, and threads of blood ran from his mouth. The sight was heartbreaking. Sakura, he murmured weakly. He extended a hand towards her, seeking her support. The hand was soaked in blood. Help me. Haruno was paralyzed, her eyes so wide they seemed about to pop out of their sockets. Terror invaded her, and tears threatened to spill from her eyes. Her mind filled with images of Sasuke suffering, and the pain in her chest became unbearable. Then, Sakura screamed in terror, a scream that echoed in the air like a cry of her despair, and she fell unconscious, unable to bear the reality before her. Maybe I overdid it, Kakashi murmured, observing from a branch. He turned a page in his book. But she should have realized if it was real or not. Sasuke stopped with a frown. That heart-wrenching scream, full of terror, tore through the air like a wound. He had no doubt. That must have been Sakura, thought the Uchiha. Tactical Ninja Knowledge Number 2, Genjutsu. The bells jingled behind the Uchiha. Sakura has easily fallen into the trap. Genjutsu, huh? A form of hypnosis, and she fell for that trick. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, his face filled with seriousness. But I am not like them. Why don't you say that after you get a bell? Kakashi asked from behind Sasuke, leaning against a tree and reading his book. Sasuke-kun. He stood up and took a few steps towards the Uchiha. Sasuke turned to face him. For a few seconds, there was only the expectant silence of the forest, which seemed to be another spectator, waiting to see what would happen. They stared at each other intently, but while Sasuke's eyes were full of seriousness and determination, Kakashi's were relaxed and carefree. The most powerful clan in the village, the Uchiha clan. This could be interesting, Kakashi acknowledged with some amusement. Uchiha made the first move, pulling out some shuriken and throwing them at his sensei. Obvious attacks like those are useless. Kakashi easily moved to the side and dodged the attack. Sasuke threw a kunai, but not at Kakashi, but at a rope. A trap, Kakashi noticed as he slid across the ground. He quickly jumped and avoided being sliced by several kunai that stuck into the tree. What? As quickly as he landed, Sasuke appeared behind him, ready to kick him. Kakashi turned and stopped the kick with his hand, defending his face. He grabbed the leg, but Sasuke quickly counterattacked with a punch. Kakashi stopped it with his other hand. Sasuke bent his body down and launched a downward kick. Kakashi blocked it with the hand that held the punch. The bells jingled and Sasuke smiled. He's going to... Kakashi looked down, his eyes widening in surprise when he noticed Uchiha reaching for the bells with his free hand. Kakashi managed to step back in time to prevent him from grabbing a bell, although Sasuke managed to brush them with the tips of his fingers. What a guy! I didn't even have time to read. Come, paradise, Kakashi thought seriously. Sasuke, for his part, gritted his teeth. He had just missed the opportunity to pass. He had prepared everything perfectly, and even so, he failed to get the bell. But, unbeknownst to either of the fighters, a third person was watching from among the trees. A boy who had not yet shown his true cards and who had only been playing so far. The boy let out a whistle of recognition at the Uchiha's abilities. He was certainly impressed. He expected nothing less from a genius of the renowned Uchiha clan. "Show your talent so that the day I crush you will be more satisfying," the boy said with a bold smile. "I have to admit, you're different from those two," Kakashi acknowledged. Sasuke snorted derisively, extended his arms, and started making hand signs. "Horse, tiger." Sasuke stepped back, puffing up his cheeks. His mouth burned with fire. "Katan, Gukakyu no Jutsu." "What?" Kakashi recognized the hand signs with a bewildered look. "A genin shouldn't have enough chakra to perform that jutsu." Sasuke spat a massive fireball that scorched everything in its path. When Sasuke finished expelling flames, he noticed that the ground where Kakashi stood was destroyed, and a large cloud of smoke rose to the sky. "He escaped," thought the Uchiha, alarmed. "In the air? No, to the sides." He looked up and then turned to the sides, but he found Kakashi nowhere. Where could he be? "Below you," Kakashi's voice boomed forcefully. Sasuke's eyes widened. An arm emerged from the ground and grabbed one of Uchiha's legs. "What?" "Doton. Shinjuzanshu no Jutsu." Sasuke screamed as most of his body was buried underground, except for his head. Kakashi emerged from the ground, and Sasuke didn't need to see under his mask to know he was smiling. "This is the third piece of tactical ninja knowledge, ninjutsu," the Jonin instructed, crouching to be almost at the level of his buried student. "Well, this way you're just like the others." Sasuke grunted slightly. "How are you? You can't move, can you?" Kakashi said with his single eye smiling. Sasuke moved in an attempt to free himself, but it was useless. "It seems your talent is exceptional. But..." Kakashi stood up, turned, and took out his book. "They say the stakes that stand out must be hammered down." A jet of compressed water shot out from the forest. Kakashi's eyes widened, surprised. He quickly crossed his arms to defend himself and took a few steps back from the water's pressure. "Suetun." Kakashi frowned. Sasuke was immobilized, and Sakura was unconscious from the genjutsu. That only left one culprit. The Jonin turned his head towards where Uzumaki was hanging from the tree. There he was. But that was impossible. So, who launched that water release? Uzumaki smiled at him and then vanished in a puff of smoke. "A clone." "What are you doing looking the other way?" asked an amused voice. Kakashi turned to see Naruto, who emerged from the forest, lunging at him with a sword in hand. "He's as fast as Sasuke," thought Hatake, impressed. Kakashi pulled out a kunai and started a duel against Naruto. Kakashi had been a swordsman in his youth, so he could say with total certainty that Naruto was not at the genin level when it came to kenjutsu. No, his level was on par with a low-level chunin. But that wasn't the most monstrous thing. The real Naruto had been observing all this time without Kakashi realizing. He watched and analyzed his patterns, saw where the weak points in his defense were, and now he was exploiting them. Sparks flew with each clash, lighting up the battlefield like fireworks. The screech of metal clashing against metal resounded like an out-of-tune violin, a sharp echo that extended through the air, filling the atmosphere with palpable tension. Naruto and Kakashi danced to the rhythm of a dangerous and exciting choreography. Their movements were precise and fluid, like soloists in an infernal orchestra. There was no doubt, no fear, no nervousness behind Naruto's strikes. Kakashi realized with a strange chill that Naruto was smiling, as if he enjoyed unleashing his full abilities against him. But the balance began to tip to one side. Kakashi started to get used to Naruto's attacks and began to counterattack. Naruto retreated, and slowly the number of his attacks decreased drastically. Naruto backed off to reposition and recover, but Kakashi wasn't going to let him rest. "He's very dangerous. There might be a clone among the trees. I need to finish him now," Kakashi thought as he lunged forward. But when he saw Naruto's satisfied smile, he realized he had fallen into the trap. Naruto made an unusual hand seal for Kakashi, and from his shadow, a massive swarm of rabbits was summoned. Filling the area, they managed to create a perfect distraction for Kakashi to lose track of Naruto. The rabbits dissolved into shadows, and Kakashi searched for Naruto with his eyes. He was near the forest, kneeling on one knee. He made another hand seal, and from his shadow, two twin wolves manifested. One white and one black. Kakashi recognized them. Both the wolves and the rabbits were part of the 10 Shadows technique of one of the two clans protecting the Uzumaki family, the Uzumaki Shadow Clan. Kakashi kicked the black wolf that tried to sink its teeth into his hand holding the kunai. He then stopped the other with one hand. But in that opening, while he was distracted, a jet of compressed water shot out from the forest. Can the clones also use summons? Kakashi was amazed by the compatibility of the shadow technique with the shadow clone and the mastery Naruto was demonstrating. Hatake received the jet of water and came out completely soaked. Now he understood where the Suetun was coming from, one of the 10 shadow summons, the Max Elephant. But before Kakashi could recover, another summon was performed by Naruto, a large snake that tried to catch him with its mouth. Kakashi jumped into the air, but another summon emerged from the forest. A creature resembling an owl with orange feathers and a white skull mask. It had 2 large wings, 2 pairs of claws and human-like teeth. But the dangerous part was the electricity emanating from its wings. Kakashi couldn't avoid it and received a shock, which, being wet from the Max Elephant attack, was enhanced. But despite that, Hatake landed perfectly, though his body was numb. His gaze fixed on Naruto who, after so many summons, was sweating profusely and panting heavily. He joined his hands in the tiger hand seal, and Kakashi prepared for the next assault. The clone that was helping him summon from the forest emerged ready to fight. He wanted to buy time to recover from the chakra expenditure. I won't let him. Kakashi lunged at the clone, starting a taijutsu fight. If it weren't for his numb state, Kakashi could have eliminated him easily. Hatake threw a punch at the clone's face. The clone dodged it, arching his head to one side, and threw a low kick. Kakashi blocked it with his shin. He attacked with the kunai towards Naruto's head, but Naruto stopped it with one hand and counterattacked with a hook to Kakashi's elbow, sending a wave of pain through his arm. But Kakashi gritted his teeth and landed a punch on the clone's abdomen, who spat out saliva before disappearing. Quickly, he grabbed the kunai falling through the air and threw it at Naruto, who remained still with the tiger seal. But before the kunai could hit him, Naruto unsheathed his sword and deflected the kunai with ease. The Jonin shivered and instinctively stepped back. There was something different about Naruto, a pressure and aura completely different. Something had changed, but Kakashi couldn't pinpoint what exactly. Naruto stood up and sighed. He cracked his neck before opening his eyes, so blue they seemed like enchanting violets. He winced and a trickle of blood slid down his nose. Naruto licked the blood with his tongue and then took a deep breath. I hope you use your other eye, because if you don't, the bells will be mine, Naruto declared confidently, pointing the tip of his katana at Kakashi. Shunko! Naruto's chakra exploded in a burst of pure energy, enveloping him in a powerful and brilliant aura of energy. A dense and glowing layer of wind swirled around his arms and legs, as if the very air responded to his call. The pressure exerted by this technique was astounding, an invisible and palpable force that resonated in the air with a deep, reverberating hum. The energy surrounding him was so intense that the ground beneath his feet cracked and fragmented, and the air around him trembled with a palpable vibration. This was not the power of a genin. No, Kakashi realized instantly that Naruto was at the level of a chunin from Konohagakure. The realization was an unexpected blow. The third had warned him that Naruto was not the worst in his class, that he could match Sasuke. Kakashi realized that his words were as true as the sun rising every morning. No, Naruto was perhaps more powerful than the third had thought. Kakashi swallowed, feeling a lump forming in his throat. With determination, he drew another kunai, ready for another round. He knew he had to take this a bit more seriously than when he fought Sasuke, pushing every fiber of his ability, though he wasn't ready to reveal his ace up his sleeve just yet. Winning this battle would require all his skill and experience, and there was no room for errors. Naruto didn't launch his attack immediately. Instead, he pulled out several kunai and threw them around the area. Kakashi's eyes widened in surprise. Those are, thought the alarmed Jonin. If Naruto managed to learn that technique from the Forbidden Scroll, then this is going to be much more difficult than I thought. Naruto raised his sword to the right, above his head. The wind chakra swirled around his katana. Uzumaki unleashed 4 vertical slashes towards Kakashi that resembled claws. Kakashi jumped to the side to dodge them, though small wind cuts slightly tore at his leg. But he didn't have time to think about the pain when Naruto appeared in front of him. The sword and the kunai clashed again with each strike, making Kakashi's hand tremble. The force behind each slash was insane. Kakashi coated the kunai with chakra to withstand the blows because he was sure a single cut could break it. But that wasn't what impressed Kakashi the most. Not even the monstrous speed that Naruto displayed. It was his abnormally acute senses. An instinct that almost seemed to tell him what to do and how to do it. The right action to keep fighting, almost as if he were a predator who, with every step, learned more about his rival and devised ways to defeat them. And his swordsmanship had increased in just seconds, as if he had learned in seconds what would take weeks. Kakashi could attest that now his sword skill was equivalent to that of a mid-level chunin. Amazing, there was simply no other word to describe it. Naruto's katana attempted 3 consecutive attacks, but Kakashi managed to defend against them all. Naruto launched a downward slash and Kakashi blocked it. They struggled until Kakashi broke Naruto's guard, surprising him. Most warriors take a step back when their guard is down. It is a natural instinct to stay alive. But Naruto took half a step forward, entering Kakashi's personal space, who couldn't respond in time. At such a close distance, Uzumaki couldn't use his katana. Therefore, he concentrated a dense amount of wind chakra in his elbow and drove it into Kakashi's abdomen. The latter, also by instinct, managed to concentrate chakra in his abdomen to minimize the damage, but it didn't prevent him from spitting out saliva, his torso being torn by several cuts, and being forced to step back from the blow's force. Before his teacher could recover, Naruto attacked. He thrust his sword towards Kakashi's chest, correctly knowing that the Jonin would use the kunai to defend himself. The kunai vibrated and creaked under the pressure, emitting a sharp squeal that resonated in the air. Small cracks began to form along its surface, rapidly expanding like a spiderweb of fractures. With a final, shattering snap, the kunai disintegrated into metallic fragments, leaving Kakashi with a broken guard. Naruto quickly slashed at the bells, successfully cutting them from the cord. Both began to fall, and Naruto extended his hand to grab them, but Kakashi recovered and kicked Naruto in the forearm with enough force to send him flying. Uzumaki, however, reacted in the air and threw one of his custom kunai. Kakashi acted instinctively and threw a shuriken to knock away Naruto's kunai, who growled. Kakashi thought it was his victory when his shadow cast over the bells. Naruto had surprised him, but he still had a long way to go. But a hand emerged from his projected shadow and grabbed the bells. Hataki's eye lit up with surprise, and then he understood. The Naruto who was summoning the 10 shadows from the forest had never come out to fight, but had been hiding in Naruto's shadow all this time, waiting for the perfect moment. The Jonin stopped and looked at the redhead. An identical clone emerged from his shadow, holding the bells. If this had been an equal fight, Kakashi would have won. But Naruto never sought to defeat him. Their fight was just a distraction to keep his mind occupied, revealing card after card, but always keeping the true one hidden. Also, he wouldn't notice the third clone. Naruto panted heavily but raised the bells with a victorious smile in front of Kakashi's astonished gaze. I win, right? If Kakashi had fought with the Sharingan, Naruto wouldn't have had a chance. Not only would he have realized that Naruto possessed the 10 Shadows technique, but he might also have noticed the clone in the shadow. In the end, Naruto won because he used all his cards, and most importantly, he used deception and Kakashi's ignorance against him. But still, did he throw Minato-sensei's kunai to keep me away from the bells? Or did he also learn the Flying Thunder God Jutsu? Kakashi couldn't say for sure. In the end, it was also part of Uzumaki's deception. Sasuke and Sakura, who were spectators of the entire fight, were stunned, with jaws dropped in amazement and eyes wide open like plates. How could their useless and loser teammate, who graduated last in his class, give a better fight than Sasuke, who graduated as the best? Kakashi straightened and sighed, scratching his neck. Well, there's no need for you to go back to the academy, the Jonin declared calmly. Naruto showed a proud smile. What? But all I did was faint. Is that good? Sakura asked confused. Love prevails, damn it, she thought happily. Sasuke, although still surprised by Naruto's level, let out a small satisfied smile. Sakura started jumping joyfully. Does that mean the three of us? Naruto asked, tilting his head. Yes, the three of you, Kakashi smiled with his single visible eye. Should quit being ninjas. Silence flooded the training field following Kakashi's words. Sakura wore a confused expression. Naruto raised an eyebrow and Sasuke pursed his lips. Stop being ninjas? What do you mean? Naruto asked, his eyebrows furrowing deeply. I got the bells, he added, raising the hand that held them to prove his point. It's because the three of you are just kids who don't even deserve to be ninjas, Kakashi replied calmly. Sasuke growled and lunged at the Jonin. Sasuke-kun, Sakura spoke, worried. Idiot, Naruto murmured, closing his eyes, knowing the outcome without needing to see it. Kakashi easily neutralized Sasuke, using his vast combat experience. In a swift and precise move, he put Sasuke in a lock that left him completely immobilized. Kakashi sat on top of Sasuke, securing his position. He placed a firm foot on the Uchiha's head and forced one of Sasuke's hands to cross over his back, immobilizing him completely and ensuring he couldn't move. See? You're just kids, the Jonin said. Don't crush Sasuke-kun, Sakura shouted, her face furious. Do you really think being a ninja is easy? Kakashi questioned with a serious look at the genin. The three of them gasped slightly, not knowing quite how to respond. Why do you think we're training in groups? What do you mean? Sakura questioned, confused. In other words, none of you understand the purpose of this test. The purpose is to make us work as a team, right? Naruto commented, narrowing his eyes. He managed to decipher it by piecing together Kurenai's words from the previous day and Kakashi's. Good. I see at least someone isn't so idiotic. Although it's already too late, Kakashi spoke with a mocking tone. But how can I manage when my teammate is more interested in sleeping with my other teammate who sees me as a hindrance? Naruto asked with genuine curiosity. Why don't we start by revealing your abilities to your teammates during the academy? Kakashi argued calmly. Those abilities aren't acquired overnight. You've been at this since you surpassed Sasuke. Why keep them hidden? I have my reasons for keeping my abilities a secret. I'm sure you know why. I doubt the old man hasn't told you, Naruto replied coldly. Besides, many clans do the same and train their members apart from the academy. Is it wrong for me to do the same? No, but you only hid your abilities to boost your ego, so that when you revealed your level was higher than Sasuke's, you'd get more gratification from seeing your classmates' faces? Am I wrong? Naruto didn't respond immediately. His jaw tightened, and a dark shadow crossed his violet eyes. His fists clenched so tightly that his knuckles turned white. His gaze fixed on Kakashi reflected a contained fury, his lips curling into a bitter grimace. Why do we have to work as a team when there are only two bells? Sakura pointed out, puzzled. If three people work hard to get them, one will have to be left out. This creates group conflict instead of teamwork. Of course, this test tries to pit the three of you against each other, Kakashi declared, narrowing his visible eye. In this situation, we select those who can prioritize teamwork over themselves. That was the purpose, but you three have been pathetic, he continued, then focused his gaze on the girl. Sakura, you were more concerned about Sasuke than Naruto to the point that Naruto was in front of you and you didn't know where Sasuke was. Haruno lowered her head in embarrassment. And you assumed those two would only get in your way, so you did everything alone, Hatake said, pressing his foot on the Uchiha's head. But you were the worst, Naruto, Kakashi added with a disappointed look. You made a clone of yourself pretend to be the real one and act like a lousy ninja. Meanwhile, you observed all your teammates' fights, using them as cannon fodder to detect the weak points in my defense. You're very good at observing, I'll give you that. You even managed to come up with a good plan to catch me off guard. You have the intelligence and observation skills to be the leader of this team, but you prioritized your glory over helping others, Kakashi pointed out seriously. Naruto said nothing, merely snorting and looking away in a bad mood. It's true that ninjas need well-developed individual skills, but teamwork is much more important. An individual action that disrupts teamwork will result in danger or even death for comrades. For example, Kakashi reached a hand to his back, towards his tool bag, and pulled out a kunai, which he then placed against Sasuke's neck. Sakura, kill Naruto or Sasuke will die. The girl let out a scream, surprised, with a pale face, a forehead beaded with cold sweat, and eyes full of panic. She looked at Sasuke. Her precious Sasuke was in danger. She had to help him. But a single look at Naruto, whose terrifying and firm gaze was enough to let her know that one false move and it would be her who would die. Was her love strong enough to sacrifice her own life? Haruno had no answer. A lump formed in her throat while her heart beat erratically in her chest.